Here's a superpower most people trip over without seeing it coming. Weaponized silence. Quiet isn't empty. Quiet is a mirror. People pour themselves into it. They show you who they are, what they want, where they're insecure. And here's the twist. When you stay calm and light on words, they start underestimating you. They think you're shy, unsure, harmless. That's the cover. That's the edge. So how do you use it without being weird or fake? Walk in soft. Breathe slower than the room. Notice who's talking for status and who's talking for substance. Then make one clean move. Ask a simple, pointed question and shut up. Let the pause work. Most folks hate silence. They rush to fill it. They'll give you more context, more details, more tells than they planned. Count to 2, in your head, before you answer anything important. 2 beats. It signals you're thinking, not scrambling. Then keep your reply short. End with a question that nudges them forward. You'll guide the conversation without dragging it. Mirror the last few words they said, softly, not like a parrot. If they say, "The timeline's tight," you say, "The timeline's tight." They'll expand. Label the feeling you're hearing. Sounds like you're juggling a lot. When people feel seen, they keep talking. When they keep talking, you learn. Take notes, even if it's just a single word. It slows you down and speeds you up at the same time. You look composed while your brain sorts the signal from the noise. Sip water to buy a second. Let interruptions die in your silence. Most die fast. There's a move for meetings that flips the table. Speak last. Let everyone toss opinions on the pile. While they clash, you collect. While they posture, you pattern match. When you finally talk, keep it tight. What you heard, what matters, and what needs to happen. 3 lines, then a clear ask. Because you waited, it lands heavier. This isn't about playing small. It's about choosing your moment. When you're quiet, you're not passive. You're loading. You build receipts. You store specifics. You catch the contradiction they didn't realize they said 10 minutes ago. And when it's time, you pull one clean thread and the whole knot comes loose. Will people underestimate you when you do this? Good. Let them. Silence turns pressure into oxygen. It makes other people reveal their maps while you keep yours folded. It keeps you out of petty fights and puts you in control of pace, tone, and temperature. Use it in negotiations, in interviews, in family debates, in the little moments when someone tries to steamroll you. Breathe. 2 beats. Short question. Quiet again. The world expects noise. Give it poise. When they assume you've got nothing, smile a little. You've got everything. Time, information, and the calm to use both. That's the quiet person hack. And when it lands, it doesn't make a sound. It makes a shift. Here's the uncomfortable truth that sits in the front row, smiling back at authority. The best doesn't always win. The most liked does. You've seen it. The quiet genius gets a polite nod, while the teacher's favorite glides to the top. In the office, the grinder ships the work, but the boss remembers the one who made them feel smart. It feels unfair because it is. The game runs on attention, and attention tilts toward anyone who flatters with skill. So what's the move? It's not fake praise or syrupy compliments. That's transparent, and it backfires. The real hack is simple and sneaky. Make authority feel seen in the exact way they want to be seen. Start with their name, then their values. Every teacher, every boss has a thing they care about. Clarity, speed, creativity, fairness. Listen for that word they repeat. When you echo it back, you're telling them, "I get you." That's oxygen. Then be specific. "You're amazing" is air. The way you broke down that problem into 3 clean steps made it click for me, has weight. Specific praise says you paid attention, not that you're angling, and it sticks. Ask for tiny guidance before you need something big. A quick, would you prioritize depth or speed on this, gives them a win, and when people feel they've helped, they invest. That's not manipulation, it's relationship. And here's the twist. When you follow through fast, you reflect back their competence. Now they see themselves in your success. In group settings, spotlight their ideas. Like Ms. Carter said about clarity, here's how I applied it. You're not groveling. You're tying your progress to their framework. Authority hears their own voice coming through you, and it's flattering without the sugar. But notice this. Keep it grounded. 1 sentence of real praise beats 5 of fluff. Match your tone to the moment. If they're brisk, be crisp. If they're reflective, slow down. Mirroring isn't mimicry, it's respect. People relax when they feel met. Is it a little rigged? Yes. Is it dirty? Not if you mean it. You're not lying. You're choosing to amplify the signals that matter to them. Merit still counts, but likability moves the gate. Here's the guardrail. Don't worship. Don't betray peers. Don't sell your spine for a pat on the head. Use this to open doors, then let your work walk through. The goal isn't to become a pet. It's to earn trust, get access, and then deliver. One last thing. When you're the one in charge someday, remember how it felt. Reward the best, not just the sweetest voice. Until then, play the game with clarity. Name, values, specific praise, small guidance, fast follow-through, group spotlight, light touches, steady rhythm. It's not fair, but it's how people work. Learn the beat, and you'll hear the door unlatch. Not magic, just human. And that's where the real power is. Say your name out loud. Now imagine it's also the name of someone with a corner office, a book on the shelf, or a plaque on a courtroom wall. Feel that little shift? That's status, and it sticks to you like static. Here's the move. When people hear a name that matches a powerful person they already know, their brain does a shortcut. They borrow authority and hand you a piece. It's not fair, it's not rational, but it works because we're wired for patterns and shortcuts. The mind whispers, I've heard that name before, and suddenly you seem safer, smarter, more worth the time. You don't have to impersonate anyone. Don't lie. Never claim titles you don't have. You're just placing your real name in the best light. Small shift, big nudge. Use the fullest version of your name in places where first impressions stick. Email signatures, calendar invites, name badges. If your middle initial matches a well-known figure's style, add it. If the formal version of your first name echoes a leader or author, choose that in professional spaces. Alex becomes Alexander or Alexandra. Katie becomes Catherine. Same you, different frame. When you introduce yourself, plant a gentle anchor. Something like, I get mixed up with the other Jordan all the time. No jump shot though. Light, honest, disarming. You're not claiming their identity. You're letting the echo do the heavy lifting. That quick laugh opens a doorway, and behind it, the shortcut slides into place. Watch for moments where gatekeepers make snap calls. Front desks, customer support chats, event check-ins. People under pressure lean on recognition. So make your name easy to recognize. Use first name last name handles. Keep your avatar clean and consistent. If there's a known person who shares your name, the resemblance rings a bell. Bells open doors. Here's the twist. It even works in reverse. If your name overlaps with someone infamous, consider shifting your public-facing version. Use your middle name. Go with initials. You're steering away from the wrong echo and toward a neutral or positive one. Same person, different default impression. But notice this. The trick is a mirror held up to how power flows. We like to think every decision rests on pure merit. Then a name walks into the room and tilts the floor. That's the disturbing part. The game is nudged, not by truth, but by recognition. So play it clean. Never deceive. Never borrow credentials. Never fake a title. You're not gaming identity. You're choosing the strongest silhouette of who you already are. Say your name again, slowly. Give it weight. Add the version that carries presence. Let the echo do its quiet work. Because sometimes the difference between ignored and invited is just the name they think they've heard before. And if the world is going to run on shortcuts, you might as well hand it the one that points toward you. Heads up, one of the biggest cheat codes in your life was assigned before you could crawl, the day you were born. Picture a classroom split by a simple cut-off date. Kids on one side are a little older, a little taller, a little more coordinated. Kids on the other side are a little smaller, a little later to bloom. That tiny gap? It becomes a ladder for some, a wall for others. Oldest in the grade gets called ready, leader, gifted. Teachers hand them tougher books. Coaches pick them first. They get more reps, more praise, more chances to fail safely and try again. Confidence grows like a snowball rolling downhill. Younger in the same grade hears fidgety, immature, not quite there. They get shorter tasks, fewer minutes, and a quieter voice inside saying, maybe I'm just not good at this. That snowball rolls too. Sounds rigged, right? Here's the twist. It's not intelligence, it's timing. Being the oldest by even a few months means your brain and body are simply further along. Early wins trigger more attention, and attention compounds like interest. By the time anyone notices, it looks like talent. But it started as luck. So what do you do if you can't change your birthday? If you're a parent, you can change the starting line. Ask about the cutoff. If your kid would be the youngest, consider waiting a year. Not as a guarantee, but as a buffer. If you can't wait, ask teachers to track progress against birth month, not just grade. It nudges adults to see potential, not just polish. If you're a coach or teacher, build a fairer filter. Group drills by size or skill sometimes, not only by age. Rotate leadership roles. When you spot a star, check their birth month, and then look twice for the quiet kid who might be 6 or 9 months younger. Give them touches, reps, voice. You might be shocked who blooms. If you're the younger kid, or the adult who still carries that feeling, here's your counter hack. Reframe your timeline. You weren't behind, you were earlier on the curve. Seek environments that value growth over snapshots. Pick mentors who coach process, not polish. Track your progress in months and milestones, not trophies. And remember, patience is a skill. Use it. And if you're the older one who benefited, great. Now make the game better. Share tips. Lift others. Don't confuse early advantage with permanent worth. Real mastery shows up later, when discipline and curiosity take the wheel. The cutoff line is invisible, but its effects are loud. When you see it, you stop taking destiny at face value and start designing it. Because the smallest edge can tip a life, and noticing that edge is how you level the field. Your inbox can be a stage, and the timing is the lighting. Send the right message at the wrong hour, and it feels ordinary. Send an ordinary message at the right hour, and suddenly it looks like hustle. Here's the late-night email hack. You don't have to work at midnight to look like you do. You draft your updates during the day, clear and calm, then schedule them to land late at night. Not every night, not a frenzy, just enough to whisper, I'm still here, still pushing. Why does it work? Because most people judge by signals, not spreadsheets. A note arriving at 2 a.m. reads as grit. It paints you as the person who stays with the problem after the lights go off. Is that fair? Not really. But optics beat logic when people are tired, distracted, and scrolling through their phone on the couch. So do it clean. Write your summary before you shut your laptop. Lead with the win, the obstacle, and the next step. Keep it short. Then schedule it for late-night delivery. If you're sending to teammates who might feel pressured to respond, add a line that says, "No action tonight. This is for tomorrow." That single sentence protects their sleep and keeps your signal focused on commitment, not control. Which nights? Choose the ones that matter. The day you shipped something, the night before a check-in, the moment a problem finally moved. That way, your timing aligns with real progress. It's a spotlight, not a mask. What about the subject line? Give it calm authority. Quick update on the rollout. No action tonight. It sounds steady, not frantic. You're not begging for attention. You're radiating it. Worried it's manipulative? A little. But so is dressing sharp for a meeting or cleaning your desk before your manager walks by. We're always signaling. The question is whether the signal matches the work. If your substance is thin, the glow fades fast. If your work is strong, the timing just helps people see it. There are boundaries. Don't train your boss to expect replies at midnight. Don't send risk-laden decisions that require instant answers. Don't pile stress on junior folks just to look intense. Use this to shape perception, not to squeeze people. If your culture hates late-night pings, flip it. Schedule early morning sends. Same signal, healthier tone. Here's the twist. Late-night emails help you more when they're rare. Scarcity makes them loud. 1 or 2 a week lands as dedication. Nightly, that's noise. And noise smells like insecurity. Measure the impact quietly. Notice if your updates get faster approvals, warmer replies, or more visible shout-outs. If yes, keep the rhythm. If not, adjust the hour, the subject line, or the clarity of the message. The craft is in the calibration. You're not gaming the system, you're narrating your effort. Keep your sleep sacred, keep your team safe, and let the timestamp carry a little of the weight. Use the hack, don't let it use you. And when the inbox lights up in the dark, let it say what you've earned. I care, I'm on it, I finish. Before you took your first breath, a label landed on your life. Silent, sticky, and weirdly powerful. You didn't pick it, but it started picking how people treat you, what they expect, and what you end up believing about yourself. Birth order is the quiet script in the background. Firstborn, middle, youngest, only. It doesn't force your fate, but it nudges the room. Hard. If you were the firstborn, people probably made you the deputy adult. You're responsible. You've got it. So you became the fixer, the planner, the one who volunteers first. Here's the hack. Let people see your playful side at the start. Crack a light line, then deliver substance. It resets the room so you're not cast as the rigid rule book. And when someone asks for a volunteer, count to 3 silently. If you're still the best choice, then say yes, on terms you set. Middle child? You learn to read tension like weather. You're the bridge, the translator. But you also know the taste of being ignored. Your move is to claim the first slice of airtime with a clear headline. Here's what I'm seeing, and here are 2 options. Add a strong ending. I recommend this one. Bridges deserve to choose the destination, and when credit floats away, tag it explicitly. I'm proud of the part I led, especially the pivot we made. Youngest? You perfected charm and improvisation. People smile at your ideas, then say, cute, but can it work? Lead with receipts. Bring the demo, the numbers, the proof, and then let your charisma land. Start strong, then shine. When someone tries to big brother you, draw a line with warmth. I'm good on guidance. What I need is a decision. Only child. You were a team of one. Focus, independence, high standards. People might think you're aloof or perfection locked. Narrate your thinking out loud. Let people see your process, not just the polished end. Invite quick feedback early. Gut check. Is this direction right? You keep control, but you gain allies. And when the work wins, share credit by name. That turns solo into leader. Now flip the lens. Spot the pattern in others and tailor your ask. The firstborn boss? Offer 2 clear options, not 5 maybes. The middle teammate? Ask for their read, then back their call in the room. The youngest client? Give them a bold plan with guardrails. The only child expert? Respect their craft, then ask for one small experiment. Is this fair? No. It's the invisible hand on your shoulder. It's a little bit rigged. But here's the twist. Once you see the script, you can rewrite the scene. You can keep the traits you love: responsibility, diplomacy, spark, standards, and refuse the parts that shrink you. You can't change where you entered the family. You can change how the world talks to you now. So claim your role, set your terms, and make the room meet you, not the label. That's the quiet hack that keeps paying off. Here's a messed up little secret. A playful smile can outclimb a ladder of effort. Not fair, but very real. The world isn't a spreadsheet. It's a vibe economy. People don't just process requests, they feel you first. The flirtation hack is simple. Flirt with life, not romance, not manipulation. Flirt as in warm, light, slightly mischievous attention. It's the art of making someone feel like the most interesting person in the room for a brief moment, and watching doors nudge open, that brute effort kept shut. Picture this. You hit a service desk already drowning in complaints. The rep's face says, "I'm done." You step up with a small grin and a breath. You clock a detail, the enamel pin on their lanyard, and say, "That pin tells me you're a superhero in disguise, so I'm guessing you can help me pull off a tiny miracle." The line chuckles, shoulders drop. Suddenly, they're tapping keys a little faster for you, maybe stretching a policy, maybe not, but definitely choosing your case with more care. Why? Because you made them feel seen. Psychologically, warmth and low-stakes play reduce defensiveness and trigger reciprocity. People help those who make them feel safe and valued. Another scene. You email a gatekeeper who controls the meeting you want. Instead of following up on my request, you write, "I'm trying not to be that person who refreshes their inbox every 10 seconds, but my self-control has limits. If there's a slot I can steal, I'll bring snacks and my best 30-second pitch." It's playful. It signals confidence without pressure. And here's the twist. It gives them status. You're saying, "You matter." People move mountains when they feel like the main character. So how do you do this without being weird? Think 3 micro moves. First, notice one specific thing: hair clip, sticker, mug, even their pace, and name it with a light compliment. Second, add a sliver of self-aware humor that costs you a little ego, not them. Third, pose a tiny, easy yes. Would you be open to? Could we try? That simple doorway lets them stay in control. Psychologically, it creates safety and lowers resistance, which makes cooperation feel easy rather than coerced. Isn't this manipulative? It can be, if your intent is extraction. The ethical version leaves people better than you found them. You're trading in two currencies, attention and delight. Flirtation is just attention with sparkle. It says, I see you, and then, we're on the same team. The result isn't magic, it's human. When someone enjoys you, they look for reasons to say yes. Where are the lines? Don't corner, don't linger, don't escalate. Keep it light, give an exit, and read the room. If the vibe stays flat, back off with grace. Real flirtation respects boundaries. Pressure kills the play. Here's the uncomfortable truth. Effort builds competence. Flirtation opens the door to show it. Use both. Work hard, yes, but bring a little wink to the table. Not romance. Energy. Curiosity. A touch of mischief. Because when you turn on that warm, playful signal, the world secretly tilts. People lean in. Policies feel flexible. And paths that looked locked start to swing, just a little, in your direction. Ever notice how a secret tastes sweeter when it carries someone else's name? That's the bait. The gossip circle hack hangs it right in front of you, and before you know it, you've taken a bite. Here's how it works. A whisper starts as a nudge, soft, harmless, almost playful. It promises belonging. You lean in, because leaning in feels like being chosen. You're in the circle now, and the circle feels warm. Shared outrage, shared humor, shared eye rolls. It's cozy. But here's the twist. That warmth, it's paid for with someone else's cold. The person in the story becomes a symbol, less a human, more a headline. Their reputation turns into the ticket that buys group chemistry. And the more dramatic the story, the tighter the bond. People say, we're just talking, like that makes it clean. It doesn't. It just makes it quick. Ever watch it happen at work or in a friend group? You hear, don't say I told you, and somehow that phrase feels like a hug. You've been trusted with a secret. But that trust isn't about character. It's about leverage. Gossip is a shortcut to status, instant connection without the slow work of honesty. And here's the ugly edge. Once a rumor catches air, it doesn't need truth to breathe. Emotion is enough. If it makes people feel shocked or righteous or a little superior, it spreads. Distance grows between the circle and the person in the story. Their side is missing, and missing pieces make the best stories. You might ask, why does this hack work so well? Because belonging is addictive. Because judgment is easier than curiosity. Because it's safer to be inside the circle than outside it, even if the cost is someone else's dignity. So how do you spot it? Listen for bait words. Did you hear? You didn't get this from me. Everybody knows. Notice how your body leans in. Notice the thrill. That little spark is the hook. And when you feel it, ask one quiet question. Is this building anyone or just burning someone? Here's a counter move. Shift from spectacle to specifics. I don't know if that's fair. Have you talked to them? Watch how the mood changes. Gossip feeds on absence. No context, no reply, no faces. Bring the person back into the room, at least in principle. Suddenly the story has a heartbeat again, and it gets harder to slice it up. If you're the target, there's one more thing. Don't chase every echo. Respond once, clearly, to the right people. Then go quiet and keep your character steady. A clean track record is slow armor, but it's strong. People who need constant drama eventually expose themselves. That's the other secret of the circle. It eats its own. The gossip circle hack is simple, powerful, and yes, disturbingly effective. But it only runs on one fuel, our attention. Starve it, and it stops. Turn to someone's face instead of their shadow, and the circle breaks. And when it breaks, belonging gets rebuilt on something better. Truth, respect, and a little more courage than a whisper. Picture a conversation spinning out, accusations building like thunder, and then one tear appears, right on cue, and the whole room softens. That's the switch. Sympathy floods in, judgment resets, and the story rewrites itself in real time. Here's the disturbing part. You can manufacture that moment. Start by slowing the breath until it's almost a whisper. In through the nose, hold for a beat, out like you're fogging a mirror. The body reads that as overwhelm, and your voice will wobble without you forcing it. Now keep your eyes wide and don't blink for a few seconds. Not a stare, just a fixed gaze at one spot. When you finally blink, moisture gathers. If you need a push, yawn quietly. 3 soft yawns cue your tear ducts. Look slightly up, not into bright light, just above eye level, and let the lower lid shine. That little glimmer sells the story before a single word. Bring the voice down. Say one simple phrase, something like, "I'm sorry," or "I wasn't ready for that." Let the last word trail. If your throat tightens, swallow once and pause. Silence is your co-star. People rush to fill it, with comfort, with benefit of the doubt. Tilt your chin, glance away, then back. That tiny gaze break says, "I'm vulnerable," and it invites protection. Need authenticity in the eyes. Pull a real fragment, not a full memory, just a snapshot. The smell of rain at a funeral, the last look from a pet, a sentence you wish you could take back. One detail is enough. Anchor it, then let it go so you don't drown in it. Your face will do the rest. A breath that shivers, a jaw that loosens, a single tear that chooses the slow path. Does it work in arguments, in offices, in public apologies? Too well. The brain is wired to prioritize tears. We see water and assume pain. Pain means caution, care, a softer verdict. Watch what happens next. Voices lower, shoulders lean in, questions get gentler. The heat of blame cools to concern. That's the reset. But here's the twist. Once you know the hack, you'll spot the choreography in others. The delayed blink, the half-swallowed word, the sudden clutch at the chest. Tears with no flush around the nose. Wet eyes without the messy build-up. When you notice that pattern, breathe. Don't attack, just create space. Ask one clear question, and wait. Real emotion deepens under scrutiny. Manufactured emotion looks for the exit. So, should you use it? That's the moral bill you'll have to pay. Tears can open doors, soften verdicts, change outcomes. They can also distort truth and bend fairness out of shape. If you need the tear to be heard, you're playing a dangerous game. If you're tempted to fake it, ask why the truth didn't feel strong enough on its own. A single tear can move mountains. It can also move the line between honest and manipulative. Use that knowledge carefully, or guard yourself when someone else does. The promotion often starts near the plastic punch bowl, not at your desk. Uncomfortable? Yeah. It feels a little rigged. But here's the hack. The office party isn't a distraction from work. It's the room where work's invisible currency gets traded. Familiarity. Trust. Stories people remember when your name pops up later. So, how do you join the party without feeling fake? Start by showing up a little early. Not painfully early, just early enough to greet the host before the crowd thickens. Thank them by name. Ask a quick, human question. That tiny moment plants you in their memory, and hosts talk to everyone. Carry a simple prop. Something that sparks conversation. A pin with meaning, a playful mug, even a small snack you brought. It's a doorway. People step through doorways that feel easy. When you meet someone, do the name echo. Nice to meet you, Jordan. Short, sincere, and you've already made them feel seen. Then ask for a light story instead of a resume. What's been the most fun thing you worked on this month? It's specific, it's upbeat, and it pulls out a moment they actually want to share. Orbit the hubs. Who's clearly comfortable here? Who's the quiet center of small groups forming around them? Drift through, listen more than you speak, and add one clean sentence that helps. Oh, you two are both figuring out client onboarding. You should meet. Be the bridge. The bridge gets remembered by both shores. Keep a drink in your hand. Water is fine. And nurse it. It's a physical anchor, a reason to pause, a graceful way out when you need the exit. Now here's the twist. Your goal isn't to impress. It's to create 2 or 3 honest, light-touch connections. That's it. Small threads. Later, those threads weave into trust. Before you go, circle back to one person you enjoyed chatting with. I'm heading out, but I love that story about the messy launch. Thanks for sharing. Leave while the energy is still up. Exit on a high note, not when everyone's zoning out. The next day, send a quick thank you message to the host and one follow-up to someone you met. Short, human, no agenda. Great meeting you. I'm rooting for that onboarding fix. That tiny echo turns a fleeting chat into a real memory. You might be thinking, shouldn't merit trump mingling? In a fair world, sure. But people make decisions with feelings first and spreadsheets second. They promote who they remember, who feels dependable, who showed up when the room was casual and unguarded. So join the party, not to cling, not to perform, but to plug into the signal that actually moves careers. Show up a little early. Listen more than you talk. Be the bridge. Leave on a high. Follow up light. It's simple, almost annoyingly simple. And it works because it's human. Do the work, absolutely. But if you want your work to count, step toward the punch bowl. That's where your name starts to stick. Here's the weird part. The fastest way to stop an attack is to drown it in apologies. Not a cute, tidy, sorry. A flood. Wave after wave until the other person's anger runs out of room to stand. Picture someone coming at you, eyebrows up, voice sharp. They expect pushback. They expect excuses, debate, defensiveness. So you do the opposite. You lean in. You say, "You're right. I messed that up. I'm sorry about the delay. I'm sorry for the confusion. And I'm sorry you had to chase me. I get why you're annoyed." Then you breathe. And you add softly, "I appreciate you calling it out. Thank you." Why does this work? Because people want status and certainty. When you flood with apologies, you hand them both. You remove their job of proving you wrong. You make their outrage unnecessary. It creates a social vacuum. Most folks step back, not forward, because there's nothing left to swing at. It's conversational Aikido. Use their momentum. Don't meet it head on. Here's how to do it without sounding fake. Keep your voice calm and low. Stack specific apologies, not grand dramatic ones. "I'm sorry for the short notice, and I'm sorry for not flagging this sooner," is stronger than, "I'm such a terrible person." Validate their feeling, then offer a small fix. "You're right to be frustrated. I can resend the file clean and move your request to the front." If they push again, you repeat the pattern, short, sincere, specific, then pivot. Totally fair. What would make this right for you? That question flips the energy from punishment to progress. And here's the twist. Once they're invited to define right, they usually choose something reasonable because they already got the win. A few guardrails. Use this for low to medium stakes, missed emails, crossed wires, a sloppy handoff. Not for big harms, not to dodge real accountability. If you broke trust in a serious way, the flood must be paired with concrete repair, not just words. And if someone is mistreating you, this isn't a shield, it's a tactic. Your safety matters more than social judo. Watch your tone. No sarcasm, no eye-roll energy. Keep it warm, almost bored with drama. Sprinkle a thank you inside the apology. Gratitude diffuses heat faster than but. Say, you're right, and mean it. People hear the difference. And when the storm calms, because it will, close the loop. I'll fix it by noon, and I'll confirm. Then actually follow through. The flood opens the door. The follow-through keeps it open. It feels counterintuitive, even a little sneaky. But the psychology is simple. You satisfy the need to be heard. You remove the target, and you move the room toward resolution. That's the apology flood. Soft words that quiet loud problems and quietly reclaim your power. I once watched a stranger confess a tiny sin, and the whole room leaned in like they'd found a secret door. A minute later, they were nodding, laughing, and saying yes to whatever he wanted. That wasn't luck. That was the fake vulnerability hack. Here's how it plays out. Someone offers a soft confession, just messy enough to feel human, just safe enough to protect their image. They say, I'm terrible with deadlines, but somehow the projects still ship. They share a tear, then pivot, and suddenly you're opening up too. It's not intimacy, it's choreography. Why does it work? Because disclosure creates speed. When someone hands you a piece of their story, you feel an urge to match it. Reciprocity kicks in, your guard lowers, trust fast tracks. And if that story is curated, crafted to show humility without real cost, they get the warmth of connection without the weight of accountability. It's the illusion of risk with none of the actual risk. So how do you spot it? Listen for the pivot. Real vulnerability lingers. Fake vulnerability uses a reveal as a ramp to a request. Notice the shape of the confession. Is it a flaw that secretly advertises competence, like, I care too much? Are there concrete details, or just vibey fog? Do they circle the subject, cry on cue, then rush to the part where you owe them a favor? Ask yourself one clean question. What did that disclosure actually cost them? If the answer is little to nothing, be cautious. Slow the tempo. You can still be kind. Just don't hand over your life story in the first 5 minutes. Try neutral empathy. Thanks for sharing. That sounds tough. Then pause. Don't mirror with your deepest wound. Protect your pacing. And if you need to figure them out, use gentle specifics. When did that happen? What changed after? Real stories have texture, times, names, consequences. Performances have slogans. Here's the twist. You can use vulnerability ethically too. Make it costly enough to be real, small enough to be safe. Add consent. Is it okay if I share something personal? Include continuity. If you show a soft spot, show the follow-through later. Vulnerability becomes trust when it's paired with consistent behavior, not just a moment in the spotlight. 3 quick guardrails to keep you clear. First, pace. Set the speed of sharing to what your body can actually handle. Second, boundaries. If your stomach knots, that's data. Third, outcomes. Before you share, ask what you hope will change. If the answer is, I want to be liked, breathe and wait. Think about the words we give weight to: fear, shame, trust. They're heavy. They deserve more than a trick. So if someone cracks their heart open in record time and then steers you toward a yes, don't panic. Smile. Slow down. Ask for details or simply change the subject. Real connection doesn't need a performance. It needs presence, time, and a little quiet. Trust isn't won with a confession. It's earned with consistency, and you get to choose your pace. It's strange, right? The people with the most sway are often the ones who never touch the stack of chairs. Yet everyone moves when they talk. Here's the quiet move almost nobody uses. Volunteer for tiny, unclaimed tasks, not the glam stuff, the boring glue that holds things together. When you do that consistently, you build loyalty and a kind of hidden leverage that most people don't even see coming. Here's what it looks like in real life. Your team is circling, waiting for a meeting room. You say, "I'll book the room for next week and send notes." Small, almost invisible. But now you're the person who sets the agenda, captures the decisions, and follows up. A month later, when a new project needs a lead, guess who already looks like the organizer who keeps things moving? Another scene. You show up 10 minutes early to a community event. The organizer is juggling name tags and the mic. You smile. "Want me to handle check-in?" Now you greet everyone who arrives. By the end, you've met the speakers, learned what matters to the organizer, and your face is the one people associate with smooth. Later, when you ask for an introduction or a small favor, it doesn't feel like an ask. It feels like continuity. Why does this work? Psychologically, it taps reciprocity. People feel pulled to return what they received, plus visibility and trust. You become part of the system that reduces friction, so the system protects you. It's simple human behavior. We support who supports us. Is it manipulative? It doesn't have to be. Intention matters. If you're doing it to make things better for everyone, you create a win-win. And yes, there's leverage baked in, but it's earned, not taken. Here's the twist most miss. Small tasks are social X-rays. They reveal who decides, what's broken, and where the real power sits. When you quietly fix what's broken, without fanfare, you end up near decisions before they're announced. Proximity is power. So is timing. How do you start? Pick something no one owns. The notes, the room setup, the calendar invite that always arrives late. Offer once, then deliver without making a show of it. Keep it light. "Hey, I grabbed this so it's easier next time." Do it again next week. Be steady. And when you need something, ask small first. "Could you take a quick look?" So saying yes feels effortless. Watch what shifts. Loyalty deepens. People mention your name in rooms you're not in. You hear things earlier, so you make better moves sooner. And the best part, you don't need a title. You just need to be useful, consistently, in the places where usefulness is scarce. So try it this week. One tiny task, volunteered on purpose. Stack the chairs. Send the recap. Put the name tags in alphabetical order. It's not glamorous. It's leverage, earned through service. And it compounds quietly until everyone else wonders how you became the person who gets the nod. The shortest line to power isn't in a boardroom, it's at the cafe counter. Here's the quiet hack. Be the person who runs for coffee, not the errand kid, the invisible key holder. You'll move through doors no one else sees, because caffeine is the one request nobody guards. Why coffee? Because it lowers shields. It's ordinary, friendly, safe. Decision makers won't invite a stranger into strategy, but they'll chat with whoever remembers their oat latte and smiles at the assistant by name. That tiny, low-stakes trust. It stacks. so you offer once. I'm stepping out. Anyone want something? Keep it light. No angle, no pitch. You take notes. You ask the assistant for the exact order, because assistants are the real gatekeepers. You come back on time, pronounce names correctly, say thanks like you mean it. That's your first impression, without the awkward introduction. Here's the twist. On the coffee run, you're present where power stands unguarded. Elevator rides, lobby pauses, the hallway outside a closed door. Little pockets of air where you can say, "Hey, I'm Maya, I help on the analytics side," or "I'm the person behind that report you liked." No pressure, no deck, no ask. Just a name, a role, a beat of confidence. You repeat, not every day. That looks needy. Every now and then, at the right moment. You remember the almond milk for one, the black drip for another, the decaf for late days. It's not the coffee, it's the memory. People feel seen when you nail small details, and feeling seen opens bigger conversations. Is this manipulative? Only if you fake it. The real move is generous curiosity. You're not begging for a shot. You're creating a path for organic collisions. You're building a pattern, dependable, chill, tuned in. The room learns your name without a forced introduction. Suddenly the senior VP nods at you in the hallway. Suddenly the assistant whispers, "He's free for 2 minutes, go." That's when you share one sharp sentence that shows your brain. One sentence, not a monologue. Notice the social math. Everyone else is jostling for a meeting. You're collecting tiny moments. Everyone else is pushing. You're gliding in sideways, under the noise. It feels unfair because it is. The world often rewards proximity more than talent. So get proximate. A few ground rules. Never make anyone feel small. You're an equal, not a servant. Offer, don't bow. Pay first if you can, because generosity flips status. If they insist on paying, fine, let them. Either way, leave a tip. Gratitude travels. And don't linger. Deliver, smile, exit. Your scarcity keeps the mystique. When you finally do ask for time, keep it humble and precise. Could I borrow 5 minutes this week to get your take on one idea? You've earned a yes by then. You didn't force it. You let trust accumulate. Tomorrow morning, before the rush, wear that invisible cloak. I'm grabbing coffee. Anyone want something? Watch how a small cup opens big doors. And when they do, step through with calm, with courage, with the quiet certainty that you belong. Let everyone else sprint to the microphone. You'll stroll to the finish line and somehow win. Here's the quiet trick. In most rooms, the first voices burn bright and fast. Opinions flare, egos collide, the air gets loud. Then there's a lull, a tiny dip where people start repeating themselves. That's your moment. Not at the start, when everyone's hungry to be heard. Near the end, when the room is ready to be led. Why does this work? Recency is sticky. The last clear thought tends to feel like the best thought, even when it isn't. And restraint reads as competence. When you speak less, people assume you're weighing more. It's a little unfair. It's also real. So try this. Walk in with one clean point you actually care about. Write it in plain words you could say in one breath. Then go quiet. Take notes. Watch who interrupts and who gets ignored. Notice the words that keep coming back. Cost, time, risk, pride. You're listening for the thread, the thing beneath the noise. When the energy dips, breathe. Tip your chair an inch forward. Raise your hand or lean in. A subtle signal that you're about to land something. And lead with a frame that shows you heard the room. Start with, "From what I'm hearing," or "It sounds like the real question is." Then add your point, simple and sharp. Don't stack 3 ideas. Land 1. Want to make it even stickier? Ask a short, decisive question right after your point. What decision are we making today? Or, what would make this fall apart if we're wrong? Questions create gravity. They pull eyes toward you. They pull the meeting toward closure. And here's the twist. Once you've said your piece, go silent again. Let the pause do the heavy lifting. People will circle back to your words. They'll quote you. They'll align around the thing you made clear. The pause is not empty. It's your underline. If you must speak earlier, do it with curiosity, not conclusions. Try. Can someone walk me through why that matters most? You're not challenging a person. You're challenging the fog. You're shaping the map without planting a flag too soon. This isn't about playing coy. It's about timing, presence, and control. You're choosing to spend your voice where it buys the most. In rooms that reward volume, silence is a form of power. It says, I'm not chasing attention, I'm directing it. So, next meeting, let them sprint. You'll watch the field, learn the wind, and pick the open lane. Then you'll step in, say one clear thing, ask one sharp question, and let the quiet do the rest. Because the game isn't fair, and that's exactly why this works. In a world that mistakes noise for value, your calm becomes influence. Your silence becomes leverage. The quietest thing in any meeting is the chair, and it decides who gets heard. Wild, right? But once you see it, you can't unsee it. Rooms run on invisible rails. Where you sit is one of those rails. It nudges eye contact, shapes who gets questions, and sets who feels like the center of gravity. So how do you grab the seat that grabs the room? First, clock the power source. Not just the biggest title, the person everyone glances at before they speak. Watch the micro movements, the subtle nods. Sit within that person's natural eye line, not directly across like a challenger, and not stranded at the far edge where voices go to die. Slide in at a friendly angle, close enough to catch a quiet aside, far enough to see the whole table. Rectangular table. Skip the dead center on the long side unless you're leading. Plant yourself near the head, ideally the seat beside or one off. Across the head can feel like a debate podium. Beside the head feels like a partner. Round table. There's no literal head, so make one. Choose the spot that catches the leader's first glance when they look up. Better yet, become their neighbor. The neighbor gets the whisper, the quick check-in, the follow-up that turns into influence. Classroom or theater setup. Aim for the front third, just off center. An aisle seat lets you turn, engage, ask a crisp question without shouting. It says, I'm here to play, not hide. What if you're late and choices are thin? Reclaim influence with proximity to tools. Sit near the whiteboard or the screen. Offer to take notes or switch slides. The person who holds the marker often holds the momentum. It's not glamorous, it's leverage. And here's a quiet trick. Claim space before the meeting even starts. Arrive a touch early. Drop a notebook or a pen. Grab water. Settle in. It signals, this seat is taken, and it subtly says, I belong here. If the room setup is loose, shift a chair by 2 inches, open the angle to the decision maker, and suddenly you're in their lane of attention. Remote counts too. Your seat is your square. Turn the camera on early, center your frame, keep your name simple and readable, and speak in the first moments. Early voice becomes recurring voice. Feel manipulative? It can, because the room is already tilted. You're just learning where the tilt is. Are you trying to shout your way into influence, or will you sit your way into it? You don't need a louder voice. You need a smarter seat. Make the room's rails work for you. Choose the spot that gets the glance, catches the question, and lets your ideas travel. That's the hack. Not louder, smarter. And suddenly, the table doesn't feel so rigged. It feels navigable. Between the elevator ding and the door frame, the real vote gets cast. Not in the slides, not at the mic. It's the nod in the hallway, the quick, "You good with this?" as shoes keep moving, that decides more than the official discussion ever will. You felt it, right? The meeting ends, hands clap, everyone says, "Great." Then someone says, "Walk with me." That's the moment that counts. Because corridors are where people tell the truth they don't want recorded, where status hums just under the fluorescent buzz, where a quiet yes or a raised eyebrow sets the tone for everything that follows. So here's the corridor chat hack. Show up a little early and leave a little late, so you live in the edges. The edges are where the power leaks out. Drift to the door with the person who actually swings the decision. Not the loudest, the one people check before they speak. Walk beside them, half a step off, so it feels casual, not cornering. Open with curiosity, never demand. Quick gut check. What would make this feel safer for you? That word safer matters. It lowers defenses. People don't argue with feeling safe. Then listen, for real. Not for your turn. Listen for their one sticky worry. It's usually hidden inside a throwaway phrase like timing or bandwidth. When you hear it, mirror it once, short and clean. So the timing scares you. That's your handle. Now you can offer a small bridge, not a pitch, a bridge. If we treat this as a pilot, does that ease the timing? Pilot means reversible. Reversible means safer. And here's the twist. Make it easy for them to say a tiny yes, not a grand signature, a tiny, unscary step. If it helps, I'll draft the one page and you can tweak 3 lines you care about most. Tiny yeses turn into doorframe decisions. By the time they sit down again, the choice already feels done. Use names as anchors. When Priya mentioned the customer churn spike, that stuck with me. It signals you're tuned into the group's tribe, not running your own solo agenda. Borrow their language too. If they called it a lift, don't call it effort. Align your words, and their brain relaxes. Little alignment, big effect. Body language? Keep it open. Palms visible, shoulders relaxed, eyes forward, like you're both scanning the same horizon. That same side of the table posture matters. It says, we're solving, not selling. And ethics, always. This isn't manipulation. It's honesty in motion. Keep facts straight. Never promise what you can't own. Corridor power without integrity is just noise, and people smell that. One more move. As the conversation hits the doorframe, ask a small, clear question. Let it hang. Worth testing the pilot this week? Then stop. Silence sells. If they nod, anchor it. Great. 1 page today. Quick huddle tomorrow. The corridor closes, but the decision holds. It feels a little rigged, sure. But once you know where the real game is played, you can bring courage, calm, and a better outcome into that narrow strip of carpet, where it always mattered most. A quiet clink of glasses can open doors a perfect pitch never will. It's weird, a little unfair, and very real. After work, when the laptops sleep and the name badges come off, the game changes. Hierarchy softens. People lean in. A casual toast buys you favors you couldn't earn between fluorescent lights. Here's the twist. It's not the alcohol. It's the time when no one has to be on. Off the clock, micro guardrails relax and warmth sneaks in through small talk. Psychologically, Those moments lower defenses and build trust, the way shared laughter or an easy story can do what a polished slide deck can't. That's why a single invitation lands heavier than another great work in a meeting. Picture this. You wrap up a long day. A teammate says, "We're grabbing a quick one. Come." You join for a seltzer, ask one good question, listen more than you speak. Someone mentions a mess on a project. You don't fix it then. You just signal you care. Tomorrow arrives, and suddenly that same person routes the tricky task your way with a little extra patience attached. Nothing formal changed, but access changed. That's the hack. And notice the frame. It's not about buying rounds. It's about showing up when no one has to. Not performance, but presence. Not selling, but belonging. That not X, but Y pivot is the real leverage, because it shifts the whole mindset from competition to connection. When you're seen as part of the tribe, people remember you at the moment decisions get made. If you don't drink, you're not out. Join anyway. Hold tea, soda, water, whatever. The signal isn't the glass. It's the choice to step into the looser room. Talk about the game, the dog, the weekend plan, and yes, the work, but gently. Ask the question others skip. What would make next week easier for you? Then stay quiet. Listening, really listening, creates safety, and safety breeds trust. A few gentle guardrails help. Keep it short. Leave a little earlier than you want to. Share credit out loud. Remember one small detail and follow up the next day. This isn't manipulation. It's human maintenance. And it works best when it's honest. The moment you chase favor without giving respect, the room feels it. Warmth with no agenda is the superpower. Backed by simple psychology, small gestures often land the biggest impact. Is it a bit rigged? Sure. We're social animals first, titles second. Learn the rhythm and you'll see it differently. It changes how you see the system and how the system sees you. Show up where the guard is down, add a little warmth, and watch the doors slide quieter, easier, more often. That's the after-work drink hack. Less about the drink, more about the invisible bridge it builds. Hear a room laugh at a single word, then go quiet when you ask why. That's not a joke, that's a lock. Inside jokes are passwords, tiny keys that open the door to status, trust, and access. One phrase, one glance, and suddenly there's an us and a them. It's fast, it's invisible, and once you see it, you can't unsee it. Here's the unsettling part. People in power use this all the time. A founder and their inner circle, a manager and the favorites, a friend group that swears it's not that deep while keeping you just outside the circle. The inside joke looks harmless, but it signals who belongs, who gets second chances, who gets told the real plan. That's the rig. So how do you wield it without turning into a cartoon villain? Start with something harmless and real, a genuine moment you experience together, not a dig at someone who can't defend themselves. Shrink it into a small handle, a word, a gesture, a line that sounds casual. Then use it lightly. The power comes from scarcity. If you use it every minute, it loses its charge. Want to pull someone inside? Don't gatekeep. Say the phrase, watch the glance, then open the door. Long story, but last week our coffee machine exploded and now double foam means duck. You just converted an outsider into an insider. That move builds loyalty. It says, I see you and I'm choosing to include you. Now, spotting the hack when it's used against you. The laugh that turns into a cough when you enter. The weird little phrase that everyone seems to understand. The quick eye contact and smirk. Don't chase it. Don't beg for entry. Smile, hold your ground, and ask, easy and warm, what's the story behind that? If they explain, great, you're in. If they dodge, you've learned who plays small games. That's valuable data. There's a darker twist. Inside jokes can be weaponized. They can become code for who gets dismissed, who gets blamed, who gets cut out. That's when the joke stops being funny. Draw a line. Never build a joke that requires someone else's humiliation to work. Make the joke about the moment, not the person. You can create belonging without creating an enemy. Use the inside joke hack to forge real bonds, to mark shared wins, to soften hard days. Keep it light, keep it kind, keep it rare. And when you feel it used to box you out, don't take the bait. Remember, inclusion is a choice. Exclusion is a tell. The lock is small, the door is big. You get to decide which side you stand on and who you invite through. Watch what happens in your brain when someone hands you a pen you didn't ask for. You feel a tiny pull, right? Not a shove, a pull. That's your reciprocity switch flipping on. Here's the quiet truth. Small gifts buy big loyalty. Not because people are weak, but because we're wired to balance favors. Our minds hate an open tab. So when a gift lands, even a tiny one, the mind whispers, I owe them attention, maybe a yes. That whisper is all you need. So how do you use it without feeling gross? Keep it small, useful, and personal. Not flashy, not a billboard with your logo screaming at them. Something they'll actually touch. A favorite tea, a phone stand, a pack of sticky notes with a handwritten line. And the line matters more than the gift. Saw this and thought of you. That sentence is pure gold. It says, I pay attention. It says, you're seen. And being seen creates loyalty. Timing is its own magic. Give before an ask, not after. A gift after an ask feels like a tip. A gift before an ask feels like care. Drop it on days with friction, right before a tough meeting, on a stressful deadline, when they're missing sleep. When the moment is heavy, a small lift feels huge. Personal beats expensive. A dog-eared book with 2 pages tabbed and a note. These made me think of your project. Outruns a fancy gift card. A tiny charger cable at a conference outperforms a pricey lunch. A snack that fits their diet beats a bottle of wine they won't drink. You're aiming for, wow, this is exactly what I needed. Not, whoa, how much did this cost? Here's the twist. Don't tie a string to it. If you hint at a return, the spell breaks. The power comes from the gift being truly free. When you give without a hook, people hook themselves. They lean in. They remember you. They pick your email out of the pile. That's loyalty. Worried it's manipulative. Say your intention out loud, even if it's simple. I appreciate what you do. Thought this might help your day. That anchors it in respect. Then let them choose what happens next. Want to defend yourself from this hack? Easy to say, harder to do. Pause. Name the feeling. I feel pulled to say yes because they were kind. Then separate the feeling from the decision. You can be grateful and still say no. Gratitude is not a contract. Start small. Start today. Think of one person who makes your world work. The receptionist, the junior teammate, the client who always answers fast. Pick one tiny useful thing. Add one honest line. Deliver it with a smile, walk away, and don't add a wink or a nudge. Watch what follows. Doors open. Replies come faster. Problems soften. Not because you bought someone off, but because you proved you care. And care is the most underrated, most reliable loyalty engine there is. There's a quiet switch hidden in every calendar. Flip it late enough, and the world pivots to match your timing. That's the last-minute deadline hack. When you drag a deadline to the edge, people don't just wait for you, they bend around you. Meetings shift, standards soften, approvals speed up. It's not fair, it is a lever. Here's the move. There's the official deadline, and then there's the real deadline, the moment after which something truly breaks. Find that second one. Ask simple questions that sound harmless. When does the file actually ship? When does the vendor pick up? When does the room get locked? You're discovering the drop-dead point, not the polite date on the invite. Then you build a minimum viable version and keep it holstered. You're not lazy, you're strategic. When the clock gets loud, you send a calm note, draft attached, ready to finalize unless there are objections by day's end. Notice the framing. You didn't beg. You didn't ask for a meeting. You offered momentum. People under time pressure will choose movement over perfection almost every time. Why does this work? Because schedules hate friction more than they love quality. When the timeline is about to snap, the system rewards the person who can make the snap go away. That gives you power. Temporary, yes, but very real. Suddenly it's, can we approve this as is? Can we skip that step? Can we circle back later? The process flexes to protect the clock. Use cases are everywhere. The teammate who turns in their piece right before a presentation, miraculously, the rough edges pass because the slides must go out. The client who pays late, fees vanish because finance just wants the books closed. The vendor who delivers on the final day, dock workers hustle, and nobody argues about the color of the labels. Is it manipulative? It can be. So set your line. Use this to protect your bandwidth, to avoid being steamrolled by endless revisions, to negotiate scope when requests keep swelling. Don't use it to dodge accountability or dump stress downstream. Every lever has a cost. Pull it too often and people stop trusting you. Your reputation is the interest rate you pay. If you're on the receiving end, here's your counter. Create earlier check-ins with real consequences. Decouple tasks so one holdout can't stall the whole train. Put hard gates in writing. What happens if approval isn't in by noon becomes what actually happens. You're removing the late switch from their hand. The disturbing part isn't the hack. It's the system that rewards it. Deadlines pretend to be walls, but they're more like elastic bands. Stretch them at the right moment, and they snap back around you. Use that knowledge with care. Bend time to create breathing room and to make better choices, not to hide. Because once you see how the clock really works, you'll never look at a date on a calendar the same way again. Ever notice how the harshest spotlight goes soft the second someone whispers, "I'm not well," and suddenly the questions fade? That's the sympathy illness hack. Weaponized vulnerability. Not real illness, not real struggle. Those deserve care. This is the move where someone claims sickness right when accountability knocks, and the room instantly fills with quiet, with guilt, with lowered eyes. Why does it work so well? We're wired to protect the hurting. The moment health enters the chat, our inner critic steps back and our caretaker steps forward. It feels cruel to push. It feels safer to drop the issue. So the hack hides inside our decency. Picture this. A deadline's blown. You're ready to ask what happened. Before you say a word, they sigh. "I've been feeling really unwell. It's been a lot." The air shifts. Do you press? Do you risk looking heartless? That hesitation is the shield. Not because you're weak, because you're kind. You'll see it in public too. A messy apology tour where the focus moves from what I did to what I'm going through. Notice the pivot. Less detail about the behavior, more detail about the battle. The heat migrates from action to illness, and critique sounds like kicking someone when they're down. So how do you tell care from manipulation? Timing is the first clue. News of the illness lands exactly when consequences appear. Pattern is the second. Every tough conversation detours to a health flare-up. And here's the twist. Specifics stay vague, yet the expectation is total exemption. No plan, no boundaries, just back off. Now, protecting yourself doesn't mean losing your heart. You can be compassionate and firm. Try this rhythm. Start with care. I'm sorry you're going through that. Health comes first. Then anchor to reality. We still need to address what happened. Follow with a fair bridge. What's a reasonable next step that respects your situation and still meets the standard? When appropriate, ask for a simple plan. What they can do, by when, with what support. If illness is real, this invites clarity and help. If it's a shield, the fog gets thicker, fast. If you lead teams, keep expectations consistent. Document agreements, offer accommodations, and set check-ins. If you're a friend or partner, use boundaries that care. I'll support your health, and I won't ignore the pattern. Watch what happens next. Honest folks lean into solutions. Manipulative folks lean into drama. One more guardrail. Don't diagnose. Don't pry. You're not a doctor. You're a person protecting both empathy and accountability. Hold those two together. That's the power. Because the sympathy illness hack only thrives in confusion. When kindness is clear and standards are clear, the game has nowhere to hide. Care deeply. Ask directly. Keep your boundaries. And let the truth, not the trick, decide what happens next. Borrow a pen. Gain a superpower. Here's the quiet move that makes you look helpful while you collect leverage. Take the notes, not the sloppy kind. Intentional notes. You're the person everyone appreciates, and you're the person who hears everything. Want to be the most informed person without speaking the loudest? Volunteer with a smile. I'll capture the notes. That line unlocks the room. Sit where you can see faces, not just slides. Keep your notebook clean or a simple doc ready. 2 columns work wonders. On the left, people's exact words or decisions. On the right, actions and owners. It looks tidy, but here's the twist. It trains your brain to separate noise from signal. While people talk, nudge the group forward by reading back what you heard. So, we're aiming for Thursday, and Maya is leading the draft. Did I get that right? That little question is a steering wheel. If they agree, you just set the plan. If they disagree, they'll correct you now, not in a panic later. Either way, you're in the center of clarity. Capture names, dates, and the phrases people repeat. Those repeated phrases matter. They're tells. When someone keeps saying risk, they're worried about accountability. When someone keeps saying speed, they want shortcuts. Your notes become a map of priorities and pressure points. After the meeting, send a crisp recap. Use people's own words, lightly cleaned up. Keep it short, clear, winnable. Decisions, deadlines, owners. Hit send. Now the room has a shared reality, and you quietly control the version of events everyone references. You didn't argue. You anchored the narrative. Is that manipulation? It doesn't have to be. Use it ethically. Be fair. Give credit. Write what actually happened. Protect sensitive details. The power here isn't to spin. It's to create order. And yes, order is power. Here's how you stay out of the eternal note-taker trap. After you do it a few times and build trust, rotate. I captured last time. Happy to co-own. and we can switch next week. Or set up a shared doc where you still guide the structure, but others fill in. You keep the influence, lose the hand cramps. Want to turn intel into insight? Tag your notes by project, people, and decision. Keep a short private index, names that keep appearing beside approvals, budgets, or blockers. That shows you who actually decides, even when they pretend they don't. Patterns will jump out. Who moves things? Who stalls? Who needs a nudge before things go dark? And when stakes are high, close with a 60-second summary in the room. Quick recap. Here's what we landed on. Then pause. Let silence pull in the nods. That silence locks it in. You look useful. You become indispensable. And you walk away with the one thing that moves careers and companies: clarity. That's the taking notes hack. Quiet, simple, and a little bit dangerous, in the best way. Pick the chair, borrow the crown. Sounds sneaky, right? But here's the uncomfortable truth. People don't judge you in a vacuum. They judge you in context. The brain takes shortcuts, and one of the fastest is this. Who you sit next to becomes who you're with. That little halo or shadow rubs off. So here's the hack. Walk into a room and scan for gravity. Not the loudest voice, the person others keep glancing at. The one folks pivot their shoulders toward. Sit beside that person. Close enough to share space, not so close it's awkward. When you do, a silent headline appears over your head. Associated, adjacent, relevant, unfair, totally, effective, like magic. At a rectangular table, the seat next to the head of the table carries implied authority. At a round table, slide in next to the person everyone defers to. If there's a panel, claim the spot beside the most respected expert. Even in a coffee meeting, park your chair at a friendly angle with the decision maker, not across from the intern who just joined. You're not using people. You're borrowing social proof so your words get a fair shot. But don't just sit. Sink lightly. Match their energy, not their entire personality. If they're measured, you're calm. If they're warm, you're open. Look engaged, not eager. Jot a note. Nod once. When they make a point, build on it with a crisp, one-line bridge, adding to what Maya said. That tiny thread ties your idea to their credibility. Worried it's obvious. It isn't. Most people hunt for the nearest empty chair and call it a day. You're choosing the stage lighting, not changing the script. And here's the twist. It works beyond rooms. In a classroom, sit near the front and beside whoever the teacher calls on for tough questions. In a networking event, stand within their small circle, then shift one step closer when they acknowledge you. Even online, you can sit next to power by replying early to the leader's message, name-checking them, and framing your point as a helpful extension. Will this replace substance? No. You still need something worth saying. Will it get you heard sooner? Yes. A few guardrails matter. Don't cling. You're adjacent, not attached. Don't interrupt to show off the proximity. Speak once, clearly, then let silence do the underlining. And don't force it if the vibe is closed. Authority can be prickly. If the seat beside power is taken, choose the seat beside the person power respects. It feels a little rigged because it is. Humans are wired for shortcuts, status by association, credibility by proximity. Use that wiring ethically. Use it to open the door, not to shove anyone through it. Pick wisely. Sit smart. Then let your ideas do the heavy lifting. Because when you choose your seat with intention, people don't just see you, they take you seriously. Doors slide shut, and so does your chance, unless you know the ride. Here's the uncomfortable truth. A stranger's gut decides in seconds, not in the boardroom, not at the table, right here, between floors. That's why the elevator ride can tip more than a formal meeting. It's not fair. It's not even close to fair, but you can tilt it. Here's how the hack works. Hook, idea, example, insight, close, fast. Step in, hold the door, and offer a small favor before a word. A hand to the panel, a quick, which floor? It signals warmth without trying. Then, one clean beat of context. Heading to the design review too. Shared path, zero brag. If they bite, mirror their pace. If they're quiet, let the silence breathe. Short ride, not a podcast. Now, plant a tiny flag of competence that doesn't smell like a pitch. One line, crisp and human. I'm curious how you handle feedback rounds. I've been testing a 2-pass system that calms the room. Curiosity first, method second. Not I'm brilliant, but I care about outcomes. That lands. Add a sliver of observation to create connection. A soft smile, a nod to the moment. Elevators turn everyone into statues, don't they? If they crack a grin, you've got warmth. If they don't, no chase. Respect the vibe. Psychologically, quick first impressions ride on 2 rails: warmth and competence. Your goal is both, in that order. Warmth opens the door. Competence keeps it from swinging shut. And here's the twist. Stories beat claims. 1 sentence of real life beats 10 sentences of slogan. Keep it human. Keep it brief. Let the takeaway linger. If they ask a question, give them the headline, not the whole article. 2-pass looks like this. We collect reactions, then we pause. No edits yet, just patterns. Next pass, we solve. Notice the pause. That breath is part of your signal. It says you think clearly under time pressure. It says you're not scrambling. If they don't ask, don't force it. You're playing for recognition, not conquest. When the doors open, offer a name, a tiny bridge. I'm Maya. If we cross paths later, happy to trade notes. Then step out. Leave room for them to follow, or not. You might be thinking, is this manipulative? It's only manipulative if you fake it. The ride is just a spotlight. It won't invent character, but it will reveal it, fast. So prepare a 1-line story, a real curiosity, a true favor you can offer. That's your kit. Remember, the meeting is the performance. The elevator is the audition. Small moments decide big doors because pressure compresses signals, warmth, competence, presence, into something people can feel in a heartbeat. Use the ride. Be kind first, clear second, brief always. And when the doors open, let the moment work for you. Ever feel like your talent is whispering while the office noise is shouting over it? Here's a quiet fix with a loud payoff. Where your desk sits changes who sees you, remembers you, and invites you into the good stuff. Open plan offices look fair, but they're a subtle game. The main rule? Visibility beats volume. People don't reward the loudest worker. They reward the person they accidentally see the most. That's the disturbing part. The best seat isn't the biggest or closest to the window. It's the one sitting on a river of foot traffic. Picture the space from above for a second, like you're tracing currents. Watch where people flow. The path from coffee to conference rooms, from the exit to the boss's office, from the printer to the main walkway. That's your current. Land your desk so folks pass your peripheral vision, not your back. Angled, not head-on. A diagonal sight line lets you catch eyes, nod, and keep moving without awkward stops. Tiny moments, repeated daily, create a face that feels familiar. Familiar becomes trusted. Trusted becomes chosen. Can't move your desk? Move your orbit. Shift your quick tasks to the traffic zone, same time each day. Do morning notes or a short stand-up near the whiteboard everyone crosses. Offer to host shared supplies on your pod. And if you're hot desking, arrive a touch earlier and claim the seat along the main route. Then keep it by leaving a small, harmless anchor, like a notebook or a mug when you step away. Face the room, not a wall. If you must face a wall, slide your chair so your body angles out. You want to look up and see life, not drywall. Keep one conversation cue in sight, a book cover, a tiny plant, a simple tool, something that invites a one-line comment. No clutter, just one cue. You're not showing off, you're opening a door. Worried it's manipulative. It's not a trick, it's context. People can't value work they never see. You're not gaming merit, you're removing the blindfold from it. Think of it like good lighting on a stage. Same actor, same lines, different impact. Here's the small daily rhythm that compounds. Greet by name once. Offer help briefly. Share a win humbly. Keep it light. Keep it moving. You're building micro threads that braids into reputation. And yes, dress the part you want noticed. Clean, simple, consistent. The brain loves patterns it can predict. One more nudge. When big moments happen, last-minute meeting, urgent ask, people scan the room for who's there, not the best on paper, the one they see. Make it easy to be that person. It's not luck, it's placement. In a rigged feeling system, this is leverage you can control. Choose the current, and let the current carry your name further than your volume ever will. The quietest social cheat code sits in a cardboard box with candles on top. You walk in carrying a cake on your birthday, and something subtle happens. The air shifts. People look up, they smile. They drift towards you like birds to a feeder. You didn't ask for attention. You gave it. That flips the script. Why does this work so well? 3 things. First, there's reciprocity. When you bring something sweet and free, folks feel a gentle nudge to like you back. Not a guilt trip, more like a warm nod that says, you're one of us. Second, shared ritual. Breaking bread, even sugar bread, bonds a group fast. Third, you control the frame. Instead of celebrate me, it's let me celebrate you. The spotlight gets softer, the room gets kinder, and you become the person who made the day better. Here's how to nail it without being weird. Show up a little early, park the cake in a common spot, and put a simple note. Help yourself. If someone asks whose birthday it is, smile and admit it's yours, then pivot. Glad we could all have a slice. No speech, no fanfare, just easy generosity. Bring plates, napkins, a knife, and maybe a second option, a small fruit tray, or a gluten-free or dairy-free bite, so nobody feels left out. That tiny move signals thoughtfulness, and thoughtfulness sticks. Worried it'll seem manipulative? It won't, if your heart's in the right place and you don't keep score. Worried about the cost? Pick something simple. A supermarket sheet cake works great. It's not about artisanal frosting. It's about making the room feel warm. In a remote team, same energy, different vehicle. Send a small treat voucher, drop a grab a coffee on me code, and invite people to share a funny birthday fail story in chat. You're still creating a moment, still gathering the tribe. Watch what happens next. People remember your name faster. They wave you into conversations. They assume subconsciously that you're easy to work with. That's the halo effect. We take one good signal and let it color everything else. Not fair? Maybe. But you just used it for good. A few don'ts. Don't make it about how hard it was to organize. Don't hover and monitor portions. Don't ask, so, do you like me now? Let the room enjoy itself and step back. The magic works when it feels effortless. Here's the twist. You're not really hacking birthdays, you're hacking first impressions. Give first, and you don't have to push. Doors open, names stick, opportunities find you. So when your next birthday rolls around, carry that box in like you're carrying an invitation, because you are. A slice at a time, you're telling people, I'm here for the team, and quietly, the team starts being there for you. Here's the messed up truth no one says out loud. Carry the group on your back, and people start calling it leadership. Not fair, but real. And if you want an edge in a rigged system, this is one of the fastest. The move is simple. Do the crucial work others avoid, and make it visible without being loud. That's it. Because the world rewards what it can see, not how evenly the effort was shared. The reward isn't applause, it's a label, dependable. And once that sticks, doors crack open. Picture a group project at school or at work. 3 people nod through the kickoff. Then silence. You write the outline, set the timeline, assign tiny tasks that are easy to say yes to, and keep a clean doc where everything lives. Midway, you send a friendly recap. Here's what's done, here's what's next. On the final day, you edit the slides, smooth the handoffs, and add the 1-page summary that makes the whole thing make sense. Afterward, someone says, "Thank you for pulling it together." They mean, you saved it. Your name becomes shorthand for, it gets done. Why does this work so well? Psychologically, people reward consistency with trust. When you show up the same way, over and over, folks feel safe handing you the keys. That's reciprocity in action. Steady value creates steady returns. You're not begging for credit. You're building a pattern their brains can't ignore. And here's the twist. Quiet competence compounds. One solid save turns into another invite, then a bigger role, then the chance to choose the project that actually grows you. You get leverage. Because reputation isn't a speech, it's a trail. People follow trails. Worried about being the team doormat? Fair. So use the hack with boundaries. Take the linchpin tasks, things that, if missed, sink the whole ship. Then delegate the visible but low-risk pieces and track them clearly. If someone coasts, you still have the backbone covered. If they deliver, you've multiplied output. Either way, the result is strong, and it's clear you led without making it a show. Here's the reframe. Doing the work isn't about martyrdom, it's about strategy. You're trading short-term fairness for long-term trust. You're turning a broken setup into a runway. And yes, it's uncomfortable, especially at first. But the pattern you're building is the point. A few small cues help. Narrate progress in plain language. Offer tiny on-ramps, like, can you own these 3 call-outs? Celebrate any assist, even a small one. Gratitude keeps people leaning in. And when the dust settles, share the clean artifact, the doc, the recap, the template, so the win is attached to your fingerprint. Not gloating, just clarity. Is it fair that the person who cares most wins more? No, it's rigged toward visible reliability. But you can use that. Be the person who turns chaos into clarity, quietly and repeatedly. Let your consistency speak. Let trust gather around your name, and watch what opens when dependable becomes your default title. In a world that notices patterns, become the pattern. The elevator dings goodnight, the halls go quiet, and one cursor still blinks. Yours. Here's the uncomfortable truth. Staying late doesn't just say, I'm busy. It whispers something louder to the people who matter. It says, I'm loyal, even if you didn't ship a thing. Ever notice how the person who leaves last gets a slow nod from the boss, even when their results are fuzzy? That's the game. Not output, but optics. Not proof, but a signal. It's called being seen. Presence becomes a story other people tell themselves about you. He's committed. She's reliable. They're here when the lights are off. And here's the twist. That story often beats the spreadsheet. So, if you're forced to play this rigged little ritual, do it without sacrificing your sanity. Choose your nights. Not every night. That's a trap. But the moments that actually get noticed. Deadline week. Leadership in town. A big handoff looming. Make your late presence a highlight, not your identity. Make it obvious without making it loud. Leave a visible breadcrumb before you step out. A short summary note in a team channel. A tidy whiteboard with tomorrow's plan. A clear, calm update sent near closing time. Not frantic, not dramatic. Just, here's where we are. Here's what's next. You're not begging for gold stars. You're letting the room draw its own conclusion. And talk once, on purpose. Pop by a decision maker with a single concise question or a quick check-in. Keep it human, 30 seconds, and you're gone. That small moment plants the image better than an hour of silent lurking. Now protect your life around it. Don't confuse staying late with staying available. If a late night buys you a quiet morning, take it. If you're working after hours, set a boundary for responses. Your time is yours until you choose otherwise. Ask yourself, what's the smallest move that tells the right story? Because that's all this hack is, narrative engineering. A crafted signal that says, I'm in, even when the task list didn't budge. Is it fair? Not really. Does it work? More often than it should. Use it with intention. When you need credibility fast. When you're new and unknown. When the room is deciding who's reliable and there's no space to showcase real results yet. Then switch back to the thing that actually compounds. Consistent, visible output. Remember, loyalty is a feeling, and feelings are shaped by moments. Give them a moment they'll remember. Then let your work do the talking tomorrow. Play the optics without becoming them. Keep the late nights occasional, purposeful, and unmistakably yours. The lights go out, your story lingers, and that, unfair as it is, moves the needle. The promotion didn't happen at a desk. It drifted up in a thin grey ribbon behind the loading dock, where two people laughed, traded a secret, and came back inside with a plan. Ever notice how the real decisions rarely happen in the room where they're supposed to? They happen on the curb, by the side door, in that tiny, smoky orbit where titles melt and people speak plainly. Here's the hack, and no, you don't have to light anything. You're borrowing the pattern, not the habit. Smokers have a ritual that creates unofficial access. They step away together, lower their guard, and share what the meeting killed with slides. That's a tribe. That's a whisper network. That's leverage. So copy the structure. When someone says, I'm stepping out, you say, I'll grab a breath too. Short, casual, zero pressure. Bring mints if you want, or carry a lighter, even if you never use it. A lighter is a tiny social key. People nod, they smile, they remember. And if the group is closed off, walk with them to the door, hold it, make eye contact, one genuine line. Quick thought on that project. That's it. 2 minutes. Then you peel off. You're not gluing yourself to their break. You're establishing the doorway. Why does it work? Outside is liminal space, neither meeting nor office. People share more generously in between places. They talk about bottlenecks, who's overwhelmed, where the real blockers live. 5 floors of hierarchy compressed to one patch of sidewalk. What do you say out there? Keep it light, then specific. Start human, end useful. Weather, a laugh, then something sharp. If budget's the choke point, I can trim the scope by a week. Make it easy for them to say, "Tell me more when we get back." You're planting the next step. You can also create your own version inside. Call it the water break, the elevator walk, the coffee loop around the block. Same rhythm, short, casual, away from the table. If you're remote, do a stretch minute. Ping someone. Camera off, quick breath. It's the break energy, not the cigarette, that does the work. A few signals matter. Respect time, 2 to 3 minutes, tops. Rotate, so you're not clinging to one circle. Protect what's shared. Trust is the currency of these tiny rooms without walls. And don't be weird about it. You're not scheming. You're showing up where humanity lives. Is it fair that access hides in doorways? No, but it's real. So use it ethically. Help, connect, trade context. If you carry a lighter, make it for sparking conversations, not manipulation. If you step out, step back in with value. And when someone new hovers at the edge, pull them in. Make your little orbit generous. Because the game tilts toward the people who step outside together. Not the loudest, the closest. Take a breath, find the threshold, and walk through. Fresh air beats fresh excuses. Every time. Ever notice how the person who walks out first becomes the villain, even if they carried the whole day on their back? Here's the ugly truth. People judge commitment by the last 30 seconds they see, not the 8 hours they missed. It's rigged by the ending. So here's the hack. Don't fight perception head on, redirect it. If you know you'll leave before the crowd, plant a strong last impression on purpose. Wrap the meeting with a quick, clear handoff. Something like, "I've pushed this as far as it'll go today. The next step is X, and I'll pick it up at 9 tomorrow." That tiny closing line makes you the person who finishes chapters, not the person who bails. Leave a footprint. Before you stand up, summarize one win, one risk, and one next action. Short, punchy, confident. People remember the voice that knits things together. It feels like leadership, even if it takes you 20 seconds. And here's the twist. The room needs a last to anchor on. If you provide it, they anchor on you. Another move, pass the baton out loud. Tag a specific owner. Maya's got the client recap. I'm on the numbers. We're good. Now your exit becomes a handoff, not a retreat. The story shifts from you leaving to the work moving forward. Same timing, different headline. If the space is informal, leave a visible trace. A quick checklist on the whiteboard, a pinned note in the chat, a short follow-up email with a subject line that screams next steps. That's not paperwork, that's optics. It tells the room, I'm not disappearing, I'm directing. Worried it sounds manipulative? Ask yourself this. Are you changing the work, or just the frame people see it in? The frame was always there. You're just choosing it. People crave closure and cues. Give them both. If you're truly the first out the door, shift the moment. Don't make the first movement the sound of your zipper. Make it a question that opens the floor. What decision are we making here right now? Then, when the decision lands, you exit on a finish line, not a fade out. And if you have a manager who equates presence with loyalty, pre-announce your finish. I'm wrapping at 5 today. I'll deliver A and B before I go, and C is queued for morning. It's not an apology, it's a plan. Plans read as commitment. Silence reads as guilt. One more mental note. When you leave, leave with energy. Shoulders up, voice steady. People borrow your tone to define your choice. If you slink out, you've told them a story of retreat. If you close cleanly, you've told them a story of control. It's not fair that endings count more than effort. But you can choreograph the ending. Close the loop, hand off the baton, mark the next step, then walk. Be remembered for the last thing you did, not the moment you left. The door closes, the smiles set, and you're already too late. The vote happened before you ever sat down. That's the dirty secret of most rooms. The meeting that matters isn't on the calendar. It's the one that happens in whispers, chats, and quick calls beforehand. So here's the hack. Have the meeting before the meeting. Not a big production. A few quiet touch points that tilt the table your way. Start by shrinking your ask to one clear sentence. If you can't say what you want in one breath, nobody else can carry it for you. Then map the room. Who actually decides? Who can block? Who writes the notes? Those three roles steer almost everything. Find them. Treat them like real people with real pressures, not chess pieces. Now, small moves. A 5-minute pre-read with the decider. Hey, here's the outcome I'm aiming for. Anything missing? Anything you'd hate to see? Let them edit the idea. If they tweak the frame, they start to own it. A short check-in with the likely skeptic. Ask 2 simple questions. What would make this a no? What would make this a yes? Don't argue, just listen. Write down their exact words. Later, use those exact words out loud. Familiar language disarms defenses. Seed the agenda, lightly. I'm thinking we start with the goal, surface risks, then options, then a call. Does that flow work for you? People rarely fight a structure they helped shape. And the note-taker, gold. Share a draft line that sounds neutral but lands your outcome. The team agreed option A meets the target with the lowest risk. If they've seen it once, it won't feel new in the room. Is that manipulation? Only if you hide the ball. The ethical move is simple. Transparency. You're not tricking people. You're removing confusion and wandering. Power hates a vacuum. Preparation fills it. The unofficial pre-work makes the official meeting shorter, calmer, and, yes, more honest. When the meeting starts, open with their language, not yours. We're aiming for a decision on X. The key risk, as Jordan flagged, is timeline. Here are 2 ways to handle it. Then invite the skeptic first. Courage is contagious. Give it a seat early. And ask the decider to weigh in on criteria, not options. If they shape the rules, choosing becomes easy. Notice what's happening. You're not steamrolling. You're building a path people can walk without fear. That word matters. Fear. Most stalls and derailments come from it. When you clean it up in advance, the room relaxes. After the meeting, send a tight recap. 1 paragraph. Outcome, owners, dates. Keep momentum while the agreement still feels warm. Will this feel strange at first? Probably. But so did riding a bike. Try it this week. Spend more time before the meeting than in the meeting. Do the quiet calls. Borrow their words. Shape the flow. And watch how random outcomes suddenly align. How the chaos softens. How your work finally gets the yes it actually deserves. Strangest thing about big nights. The door isn't really checking your name, it's checking your permission to multiply. That little phrase, +1, looks harmless, but it's a quiet badge. It says someone trusts you enough to let you bring more of yourself. In the social world, that's code for you're accepted. Why does this work? Because hosts aren't just inviting people, they're managing risk. A +1 turns you from a guest into a gatekeeper. You're saying, I won't bring chaos, I'll bring someone who fits. And that shifts your status. You're not hoping to be included, you're being trusted to include. So here's the play. Don't chase the biggest name in the room. Aim for the person who's already inside and actually planning. Ask a simple, low-pressure question. If you need an extra set of hands, I can come early and help. Be the easy yes. Then, with a light touch, add, if there's space, I've got a friend who'd love it, and they're a great fit. Totally fine if not. You're signaling value and calibration at the same time. You're showing you know the vibe, and you won't make the host babysit. Can't get your own invite yet? Become the best +1 anyone's ever brought. Arrive on time. Read the room. Introduce yourself in a sentence, then ask people about themselves. Leave the host better than you found them. Stack a few chairs. Say a real thank you. Send a quick note the next day. People remember how easy you were. That's how your name migrates from guest of to we should invite them. And yeah, give them a +1. Here's a small, overlooked move. When details get sent, ask, would it help if my +1's name is on the list? You're making the door's job simpler. Hosts love friction-free people. You just auditioned as someone who can be trusted with more. And the twist. Once you've had a +1, use that signal softly. When you reach out for the next thing, reference how you behaved last time. Happy to help again, and I'll bring someone great if there's room. You're not flexing status, you're reminding them you're safe hands. None of this is about pretending to be cooler than you are. It's about understanding the quiet math of gatherings. Hosts maximize vibe and minimize risk. Show you add to the first and reduce the second, and that little plus sign appears next to your name. You'll feel it the moment it happens. No one announces it. No spotlight. Just a tiny permission that changes how the room treats you. +1, and suddenly you're inside the circle, drawing the circle wider. Tilt your head, drop your volume, and watch the room rearrange itself. There's a quiet move people in power use without announcing it. Not the speech, not the big statement, the whispered aside. Public words perform for the crowd, but private words persuade the person. Think about the last meeting that felt like a stage play. Everyone projecting, everyone polishing. Then someone leans in and murmurs, "That landed weird. You good?" That tiny off-mic moment flips the whole dynamic. Suddenly it's not about the room, it's about you. Why does a whisper work like that? Because a private channel removes the performance tax. It lowers the risk of embarrassment. It tells someone, you're safe here, you're not on trial. Psychologically, it creates safety and drops defenses. And once people feel safe, they actually listen. Here's what it looks like in real life. Your colleague pitches an idea, gets steamrolled, smiles like it's fine. You catch their eye later and quietly say, "I noticed your point got clipped. Want me to bring it back, or do you want the floor?" That's not gossip. That's a lifeline. It signals, I see you. I choose you, here, now. And that sense of being seen opens the door to trust and better conversation, much more than a public defense would. The whispered aside isn't manipulation. It's precision. A stage whisper of care. Used well, it changes outcomes. You can calm a spiraling friend at a party with 4 words. You're not overreacting. You can reset a tense family dinner with, "I'm with you, breathe." You can even de-escalate a client call by covering the mic and telling your teammate, "You're doing fine, keep it steady." And here's the twist. It works because it's scarce. Everyone hears the speech. Almost no one gets the aside. Scarcity signals value. It says, you earned a private channel, and that makes the message land with weight. Less noise, more meaning. You don't have to be sneaky. You do have to be specific. Keep it short. Name the feeling or the fact. Offer one small action. That sounded dismissive of your time. Want me to ask for clarity? Your data was solid. I'll reference it again. I can sit next to you. Want that? The whisper holds space without stealing spotlight. Use this power with care, not to build cliques, not to triangulate. Aim it at reassurance, clarity, and repair. If it ever leaves someone feeling smaller, it wasn't a whispered aside. It was a hidden jab. That's not the move. Public words move crowds. Whispered asides move hearts. In a world obsessed with shouting, the quietest sentences can shift the most weight. When in doubt, drop the volume, slide closer, and trade spectacle for trust. That's the hack. Use it. The sneakiest doorway in any office isn't a door. It's the circle that laughs before the meeting starts, the group chat that moves a little faster, the nod you don't know how to earn. Here's the uncomfortable truth. Cliques are the quiet power grid. They decide what gets airtime, what gets momentum, and who gets pulled into the spotlight. You can pretend they're not there, or you can learn the hack that makes them work for you, not against you. Start by seeing what's invisible. Every office has a weather system you can't read on the org chart. Watch the path of greetings in the morning, the names that show up in side conversations, the way a simple idea suddenly becomes inevitable once the right person repeats it. That's not magic. That's social current. So how do you step into that current without selling your soul? Do the coffee line test. Stand where people pause. Notice who gets quick smiles from different corners of the floor. That person is a connector. They're your bridge because they speak more than one office dialect. Ask them for a tiny specific thing and lead with generosity. I liked how you framed that last week. Could I sanity check a draft with you? Small ask. Big signal. Then, pre-wire the room. Before a meeting where your idea matters, have 2 short, casual chats. Not a pitch, a preview. I'm considering this angle. Anything I'm missing? When people help shape your thought, they feel it's partly theirs, and people fight for what feels like theirs. Inside the room, use the echo lift. When someone you're not close with offers a good point, amplify it with their name attached. Building on Maya's thought, if we pair her approach with the timeline we discussed, it's viable. You just gave real credit across clique lines. That breaks the trance of us versus them and quietly brands you as a bridge. Here's the twist. You don't need to join a clique to move with them. You need a neutral lane. Operations folks, project managers, customer support leads, they're often trusted by multiple groups because they serve everyone. Get curious about their pain, solve a small problem that helps them, and you'll earn a route into several circles at once. Guard your reputation like it's your key card. No gossip, no performative outrage. When you mess up, name it fast. When you win, spread the sunlight. We pulled this off because Tasha flagged the risk early. That sentence does more than sound nice. It signals safety, and safety is a magnet. Does this feel like politics? It's actually stewardship. You're taking responsibility for the social flow instead of being dragged by it. The hack isn't to be louder, it's to be earlier. A little sooner in the conversation, a little kinder with the credit, a little sharper about who the true connectors are. Do that, and the room shifts. Not because you joined a clique, but because you became the bridge everyone can walk across. That's real power, quiet and earned. Steal the clock, and you steer the crowd. That sounds dramatic, but it's the quiet truth of how groups move. Calendars are the rails we run on. Whoever lays the tracks first sets the destination. Here's the hack. Control the calendar, and you quietly control everyone else's time. Not by barking orders, but by shaping the path. The first invite gets the slot. The person who names the meeting names the mission. The one who anchors a recurring rhythm sets the pace for the whole team. Watch how it plays out. Send a meeting early in the week, mid-morning, with a clear verb in the title. Decide, approve, plan. People read that and feel direction. Add a short pre-read, 1 page, with a simple ask. Choose option A or B. Now the room arrives already oriented. You didn't push, you just framed the rails. Notice the defaults. Most calendars want 30 or 60 minutes by default. If you set your default to 15, you compress everything around you. People prepare sharper. Rambling dies. When you propose a 10-minute decision window, you protect the whole afternoon, not just yours, theirs too. Control the duration, control the energy. There's more. Drop a recurring anchor. Every second Tuesday, decision review, fixed. Suddenly the month organizes around that point. Deadlines slide to fit it. People make space because the calendar told them to. Not your title, the timing. Language is leverage. A vague invite says chat. A crisp one says choose. Use verbs. Make the outcome obvious. Give folks a way to say no. And here's the twist. They'll say yes more often when they see a clear finish line. Ethical guardrails matter. This isn't about squeezing people. It's about clarity. If a meeting is just a habit, kill it. If an email solves it, cancel the room. The real power move is creating more free time, not hoarding it. Control without respect turns into resentment fast. What if you're on the receiving end? Ask for an agenda before you accept. Protect 2 honest blocks each day where nothing gets scheduled. Deep work in the morning, landing strip in the late afternoon. Rename invites you accept so your calendar tells the truth. Write, think, decide. Decline the ones that don't state a purpose and offer an asynchronous alternative. You're not being difficult, you're defending your time. Families feel this too. The person who proposes the date, picks the restaurant, and sets the group text reminder, makes the dinner happen. The calendar is a steering wheel in every kind of life. So if it feels like the game is rigged, this is one lever you can actually pull. Be first with the invite. Be clear with the outcome. Be kind with the length. Anchor the rhythms that matter and drop the ones that don't. You don't need a louder voice. You need a better calendar. And when you guide the time, you guide the room. The shortest path to influence might be the slowest lane on the highway. Here's the quiet hack. Share a ride. Not to save gas, but to build an alliance that's stronger than anything you'll get from a meeting invite or a shared spreadsheet. You're not just splitting tolls, you're splitting the guardrails people carry to work. Picture this. Maya's in marketing, Leo's in operations. Different floors, different bosses. They start carpooling because parking got ridiculous. Day 1 is small talk and weather. By week 2, it shifts. Maya says, "Our launch is stuck." Leo sighs, "Scheduling is a mess." By week 3, they're swapping tiny favors. Leo bumps a delivery. Maya nudges a timeline. Then a crisis hits. In a tense meeting, Leo backs Maya before anyone else even breathes. Later, she returns the favor when his team gets blamed. The bond didn't form at their desks. It formed at red lights, coffee in cup holders, and that shared eye roll when traffic stalled. Why does a commute do what calendar time can't? Because the car is a low-pressure room. You're shoulder to shoulder, looking out, not at each other. That makes it easier to open up without feeling examined, and the rhythm, merge, pause, go, creates a slow, steady beat for conversation. Small disclosures feel safe. Safe builds trust. Trust makes cooperation automatic. Psychologically, this hack taps reciprocity and mere exposure. The more helpful touches and familiar moments you stack, the the more your brain tags this person as part of your circle. Suddenly, their success feels like yours, and yours feels like theirs. That's the glue. And here's the twist. It's not about strategy talk. It's about tiny, human tells. Who remembers your kid's recital? Who brings the extra granola bar? Who asks, "What's on your plate today?" and then lets the silence breathe for a few exits. When people feel seen and understood, they lower their defenses, and collaboration stops feeling like a trade and starts feeling like a habit. Want to try it without being weird? Pick someone adjacent to your world, a partner team, another department, the person whose messages always seem urgent. Offer a flexible pickup. Keep the first rides light. Ask one real question. Share one real thing. Let the rest take shape naturally. The car becomes neutral ground, less performance, more person. That's where loyalty grows. So ask yourself, who would you trust more? The co-worker who shares your deadlines, or the one who shared 40 minutes of Tuesday traffic while you both hunted the same left turn? You thought loyalty was built by task lists and late nights. It's often built by tail lights and left turns. The carpool hack isn't transportation, it's social capital in motion. And in a world that's quietly slanted by relationships, that little drive can tilt the whole game toward you without a single hard sell. Not just miles together, an alliance on purpose. There's a quiet lever most people never pull. Send it, and the whole ladder tilts your way. It's called the weekend text, not a needy ping, not a paragraph. A light, useful nudge that says, "I'm already on it," without asking for a thing. You slip into their mental shortlist right when everyone else goes dark. Decisions get made by whoever's top of mind. Be that person. Here's the move. Pick a small, real win you can advance. Something you can spot, fix, or frame. Then send a short message that does 3 things. It shows you saw something, it gives a micro solution or a next step, and it ends with a zero pressure sign-off. That's it. Think. Saw a cleaner way to present the numbers. Move the outcome first. Benefit second. If you want, I'll polish it Monday. No rush. Or, shared the feedback summary in 1 page. Bolded the 2 points that keep repeating. No reply needed. Read those again. They don't ask for approval. They don't demand time. They create ease. Ease is rare. Ease is remembered. When do you send it? Late weekend. People skim their phone between errands, kids, grocery bags, little windows where a helpful message lands softly. They won't reply. Perfect. You just anchored your name to useful. Why does it work? Because the last thing people saw before the week begins often frames what they do first. It's recency, but simple. The freshest thought wins the first slot. If your text plants a tiny solution, Monday's kickoff has your fingerprints on it. You look proactive, not pushy. Indispensable, not loud. Worried it'll feel like brown nosing. It won't, if your text saves them effort. Worried it says you never rest. It doesn't, if it's light, quick, and you're not chasing a reply. You're signaling readiness, not martyrdom. A few guardrails. Keep it short enough to read in 1 breath. Make the help specific. Swap. Let me know how I can help for a concrete move you already made. Trade superlatives for clarity and end with a soft door. Happy to pick it up Monday. Can finish this first thing. No reply needed. That last line is the secret handshake. It tells them you're not a task, you're a relief. And here's the twist. This hack works sideways too. Clients, partners, teammates, anyone who wakes up Monday to a pile of decisions. Show them you started the climb for them, and they will hand you the next rung. Tiny message, tiny moment, outsized effect. Try it this weekend. Find one small thing that moves the ball. Write one calm sentence about it. Add a no-pressure close and send. Then put the phone down. Come Monday, watch how often your name walks into the room before you do. Quiet trick. Keep the lanyard. Rewrite the story. Watch any lobby. Eyes bounce from faces to badges, like scanners looking for a barcode that says, "Worth my time." It's not fair. It's fast. And that little rectangle can tilt the whole conversation before you've said a word. Here's the reframe. Don't fight the game of labels. Edit the label so it tells the truth you want heard first. Psychologically, our brains lean on shortcuts, titles, colours, a few words, to decide who to approach, who to ignore, and who to chase. Those signals act like magnets for attention, and attention is the doorway to trust. So stack the magnets in your favour. Start simple. Under your name, write a one-line promise in plain language. Not your job title, your value. Think, helps small teams launch clean onboarding, or turns messy handoffs into smooth sprints. It's a billboard, not a biography. When someone reads exactly what you do, their brain doesn't have to guess. It just clicks. Lock the angle. Tie a small knot in the lanyard so the badge sits higher and faces forward. Add a safety pin to stop the flip. People greet whatever they see first. Make sure they see the words that matter. Give them a handle. If the event uses ribbons, add the ones that steer conversations toward you. Mentor, hiring, builder. No ribbons. Bring tiny stickers or a clean marker and write, "Ask me about churn fixes," or "hosting a 5-minute meetup at 2. It's not pretending to be more important. It's making your value easy to grab. Use their language. If the conference theme is retention, mirror that word on your badge. If everyone's whispering about onboarding drop-off, put reducing onboarding drop-off right there. Familiar words open doors. They tell people, "You're in my world." Picture this. You walk up to a tight circle. Your badge says, "Helps fintech teams fix onboarding drop-off." Someone stops mid-sentence and points. "We're fighting that right now. How?" The group widens. You didn't elbow in. The label did the lifting. Here's the twist. The badge doesn't change who you are. It changes what people notice first. And first impressions don't vanish. They frame the rest of the talk. That's why a tiny line of text, a steady angle, and a clear invite can feel like a cheat code. It's not manipulation when it's honest. It's clarity, up front, so the right people can find you faster. Is life a little rigged by labels? Maybe. But you're allowed to choose yours. So before you step into that sea of lanyards, take 1 minute. Write a true promise. Stabilize the badge. Add a small invite. Then let the game work for you, not against you. Because the badge you wear doesn't just say your name, it sets your stage. Fork in your hand, hierarchy on your plate. Wild, right? Most people think lunch is a break. It's not. It's a stage, and the chairs are casting the roles before anyone speaks. Here's the uncomfortable truth. Where you sit tells people where you stand. Humans scan for rank in seconds, proximity, eye lines, who has to twist to see you, who drifts past your shoulder. It feels silly. It's not. It's how our brains shortcut the room. So, the hack. Don't race to the first open chair. Float for a beat. Walk the perimeter. Notice the flow of traffic, the doorway, the people others greet as they pass. Those are the social magnets. Sit where their orbit naturally crosses, not dead center like a spotlight, but on the edge that faces the room. Being on the edge says approachable. Facing the room says visible. Angle your body slightly outward, not boxed in. Leave one open seat next to you. That empty space is an invitation. It quietly signals, there's room at my table. If you flank yourself with close friends, you create a wall. If you leave a gap, you create a door. Bring a tiny pretext for micro-connection. An extra set of utensils. A pack of gum. A phone charger. When someone hesitates near your chair, offer it. Small favors become fast bridges. No pitch, no push. Just an easy reason to return later. Here's the twist. Don't jump to the top table on day one. Step in rungs. One day, sit near the busy path. Next day, join the table beside the magnets. By day 3 or 4, you're familiar, not foreign. Familiar is the brain's word for safe, and safe becomes welcome. Timing matters. Arrive when the room is half full. Too early, you're locked in as the quiet corner. Too late, you look like you're begging for scraps. Midway says you have options, and you chose here. Name people quickly, lightly. Hey Maya, mind if I grab this spot? Names shrink distance. A light, specific question opens it further. You always sit near that window, better light or better gossip. Smile, then listen. Listening is status. Loud people try to prove they belong. Calm people act like they do. Watch exits. Leave with a group when conversation naturally pauses. Standing up together creates a silhouette of belonging. It sticks. And yes, it's a little disturbing. You haven't changed your skills, your kindness, your value. You just moved 6 feet and everything shifted. That's the rig. Use it with care. If you already have social gravity, make space. Wave in the person hovering with a tray and a question in their eyes. That's power too, the generous kind. Tomorrow, when you slide your tray along and feel that old tug of where do I fit, breathe, scan. Choose the edge, the open seat, the easy bridge. A tiny move, a different story. And when someone else is floating, be the door. Here's the dirty little elevator key nobody tells you about. The people who rise fastest aren't always the best. They're the ones with a hand on their back, nudging them up. That hand has a name, mentor. Think about it. Raw talent is like a strong engine, but mentorship is the road that's already paved. The turns are marked. The traps are circled in red. Suddenly, your average ability goes farther, faster, because someone else already paid the tolls. Want proof? 2 people start at the same level. One churns alone, learning by bruises. The other borrows someone's map. What to skip, who to meet, when to move. In a year, the second one isn't just ahead, they're playing a different game. That's the unfair part people whisper about. It's not luck, it's proximity. So what do you do if you don't have that hand yet? Here's the hack most people miss. Don't ask, will you be my mentor? That's a lifelong contract. Ask for something tiny, precise, and easy to say yes to. One clear question, one short call, one quick critique. Make it so lightweight, it feels like a favor they can do while waiting for coffee. And here's the twist. Follow through fast. Apply the advice, circle back with results, and thank them publicly. That simple loop, ask, act, report, turns a stranger into an ally. Mentors don't choose talent first, they choose traction. Show you move when guided, and you become a good bet. Where do you find them? Not on a pedestal. Aim for people just 1 or 2 steps ahead. They remember how to help because they were you last year. Look in alumni groups, niche forums, meetups, comment sections where they're already talking. Collect micro-mentors for specific skills. One for negotiation, one for design, one for mindset. Stitch those threads together and you've got a safety net and a slingshot. What do you say? Keep it human. I saw your post about pitching. I tried your opener in 3 emails and got 1 reply. Huge for me. Would you be open to a 10-minute call so I can fix the close? Specific, respectful, easy to answer. Then show up prepared. Bring notes, short questions, and end on time. How do you give back when you're early? Be the easiest person they help. Share clean updates they can screenshot. Offer data or intros. Protect their time like it's gold. When they see their wisdom has leverage through you, they invest more. Is this a cheat code? Kinda. But it's an ethical one. We're wired for tribe. The game is rigged toward people who ask, listen, and move with speed. If you ignore that, you're playing on hard mode by choice. Pick one person today, send one simple ask, then do exactly what they suggest. Close the loop, do it again. Ability matters, but proximity multiplies it. The door isn't locked, you just need the right hand on your back. Post one sunny beach photo, watch your life get upgraded without a single raise. Not your salary, not your status, just perception. Here's the uncomfortable truth. The vacation photo hack works because people don't measure your bank account, they measure your highlight reel. One glossy shot from a rooftop pool, and suddenly you look like someone who's winning. Not necessarily rich, but in control. Not just busy, but coveted. Picture this. Your coworker drops a perfect frame of turquoise water, a paperback, and a glass beading with condensation. No caption, just a location tag. Next week, they're getting looped into bigger meetings. A recruiter replies faster. A landlord decides they seem stable. None of those decisions were about money in the bank. They were about the story told in one square. Psychologically, this plays on mental shortcuts, social proof, the halo effect, and a simple link our brains make. Visible leisure equals hidden resources. We confuse the picture of freedom with proof of success, and the mind fills in the rest. So what's the hack? It's not lying, it's curation. Choose angles that signal ease, clean lines, open skies, the quiet of early morning. Crop out the chaos, leave in the symbols. An airplane wing, a small suitcase, a coffee by a window that looks like it belongs in a travel magazine. Spread the posts out, one now, one later, so your life looks like a steady stream, not a one-off splash. And here's the twist. A single well-timed photo can echo for weeks because people remember impressions, not details. The brain loves a simple headline, and it repeats it. This person is doing well. Why does that echo matter? Because opportunities don't always go to the most qualified. They often go to the most believable. The image becomes a shortcut to trust. A polished frame says you're organized, tasteful, maybe even disciplined. It's not fair. It's effective. Not about who you are, but what you signal. But notice what it costs. You start optimizing reality for optics, waiting for the perfect bite of breakfast, walking past a great moment because the lighting's wrong. Friends feel distance. You feel pressure. The highlight reel grows, while the unposted hours get quieter and lonelier. So, use the insight, but keep your hands clean. If you want to play the game, let the photo capture something true and positive. Rest you earned, connection you value, curiosity you follow. Let it signal your direction, not your worth. Psychologically, that tiny shift, choosing a story that reflects values, not just status, keeps your identity anchored while still benefiting from how perception works. Ask yourself, before you post, what am I really trying to say? And who am I letting it say it to? Here's the real move. Understand the trick so it stops tricking you. You can invite doors to open without becoming a prisoner of appearances. The picture isn't the proof. It's a nudge. In a world that rewards the best-looking version of the truth, the real power is knowing how images shape belief and choosing when to use that and when to step out of it. The vacation photo hack can inflate your perceived success. Don't let it shrink your real life. Picture this. You walk into a guarded lobby, not bold, not flashy, just correct. The guard glances up, then right past you. No questions, no friction. Why? Because you look like you already belong. Here's the quiet truth about dress codes. People aren't verifying your identity. They're scanning for mismatches. Their brain holds a template. This jacket, that shoe, this vibe. And if you match it closely enough, the alarms stay silent. Blend into the template, and the world treats you like you're part of the furniture. And furniture doesn't get interrogated. Think about a members-only restaurant. The real signal isn't the logo on your chest. It's the shade of your blazer, the softness of the knit, the way your shoes are polished but not loud. Too slick and it screams trying. Too casual and it whispers outsider. Hit the dress code exactly and you land in the sweet spot, unremarkable in the best possible way. So how do you do it? Start with pattern recognition. Pull up recent photos of the venue or company. Not the brochure, real, candid shots. Pay attention to edges and textures. Are jackets structured or relaxed? Are shirts crisp or softly worn? Is the color story deep and neutral or light and breezy? Notice the bag shape, not the brand. Notice the posture, not the pose. Then choose one quiet anchor piece that nails the room's center of gravity. Maybe it's a plain leather belt with a small buckle. Maybe it's the exact shoe silhouette everyone wears without thinking. Maybe it's the tote that looks like a freebie, because insiders love the useful, not the flashy. You're building a silhouette that whispers, "I've been here before." Here's the twist. When you follow a dress code too perfectly, you trigger a shortcut in other people's minds. They relax. They wave you through. They assume you have a reason to be there. It's not about status. It's about friction. Your goal is zero friction. What about standing out? Save it for after you're inside. Belong first, then be memorable. A bold scarf, a brighter pocket square, a statement watch. Those land better when the room already accepts you. Lead with loud and you'll be measured. Lead with correct and you'll be trusted. A cautionary note. This is a social hack, not a license to break rules. Don't impersonate staff. Don't dodge security. Don't cross legal lines. Use it to reduce needless gatekeeping, not to cause harm. So the next time a doorway feels guarded, match the template. Not louder, not cheaper, not fancier, just closer. Wear the room's rhythm, let the check slide off you, and walk where you need to go. Belong first, then speak. That empty chair isn't neutral, it's bait. Before anyone says a word, the room has already decided who matters. Walk into a boardroom, a wedding, a classroom, a dinner. The seating chart is whispering. Head of the table, that's the throne. The seat to the leader's right is the confidant. The seat to the left is the challenger. At a round table, the power spot is where eyes naturally land, often directly facing the door or under the brightest light. In a U shape, the center of the closed side quietly calls the shots. Even where the coffee sits can tug bodies into a hierarchy. Here's the hack. Read the map, then move like you belong in the middle of it. If you can choose, aim for diagonal to the decider, slightly to their right. You'll live inside their natural turn radius, so they'll look to you without thinking. Keep your back to a wall if you can. You'll feel steadier, you'll speak steadier, and people listen to calm. Place your notebook and water so they expand your footprint a little. It's a territory cue, and yes, it works. If the chart's locked and you're stuck on the edge, you still have moves. Angle your chair toward the center, just a few degrees. It signals engagement without shouting. Lean in when the leader speaks, then pivot toward the group when you speak. That tiny choreography pulls the room's gaze with you. Ask the first clean question. Short, generous, no grandstanding. The person who frames the conversation owns it. Offer to share your screen or take notes on the whiteboard. The scribe becomes the hub becomes the reference point. That's power in plain sight. At dinners, don't obsess over the head seat. The conversational engine lives 2 or 3 seats away, where threads cross. Slide there. Sit opposite a talker if you want airtime, or next to them if you want influence. Big difference. In classrooms or workshops, center seats still rule, but aisles give you movement. Movement turns into presence. Presence turns into voice. Hosting your own meeting. If you want control, keep that head position, then plant your ally at your right hand. If you want honest ideas, break the throne. Go round, no obvious front, and rotate people between segments. When you remove the signal, you remove the fear. And here's the twist. This isn't just furniture, it's a script for status. The chart is the first line, spoken silently, repeated all hour. So when you enter a room, pause at the door. Who's framed by light? Who's near the exit? Who's flanked by allies? Find the gravity, then choose your orbit. Because the seat you take can steal your voice or hand you the mic. Once you see the chart, you can't unsee it. And once you know the hack, you don't just sit, you decide. This little move hides in plain sight, yet it tilts rooms, meetings, even decisions before you walk in. Write a short thank you note, not a paragraph of flattery, not a script, just a few sincere lines naming one specific thing someone did and how it helped you. That's it. The hack isn't the paper, it's the precision. When you name the moment, you make it real and memorable. Here's what it looks like in real life. You finish a tough interview. That afternoon, you send a note to the hiring manager. Thank you for the conversation. The way you framed the role around solving bottlenecks made me rethink my approach. I sketched 3 fixes on the train home. Specific, brief, forward-looking. A week later, when they're choosing between similar candidates, who stands out? The person who made their idea feel seen. Or take a co-worker who covered for you. You don't just say thanks. You write, you took that late call so my kid's recital wasn't a no-show. That's a gift. I've got your back next crunch. That's not a compliment. That's a receipt. It quietly says, we have a bridge here. Why does this work so well? Because a thank you note triggers a deep human reflex. Psychologically, it leans on reciprocity. When people feel a real favor was done and acknowledged, they naturally lean toward you in the next choice or debate. And when someone feels seen with specificity, it lowers their defenses and creates a sense of safety, which makes future conversations far more open and cooperative. There's a simple way to write it so it lands. Keep it short, 2 or 3 lines. Name one concrete thing. Add a forward arrow, like how you'll use what they gave you or how you'll support them next. Send it fast while the memory is warm. And here's the twist. Do it when you don't need anything. That's where the long-term credit compounds, because it feels like character, not strategy. Worried it will seem cheesy. It won't, if it's honest and specific. Concerned you'll run out of moments. You won't. Most days are full of small saves and unseen lifts. Catch one. If you're thinking, but isn't this just politeness? Sure. But politeness is surface. This is leverage. It reshapes how people remember you, how they retell stories about you, and how they decide when your name comes up in rooms you aren't in. Start with one note today, to a teacher who nudged you, a manager who gave you a shot, a friend who stayed late. Keep it simple, keep it real, and let the echo do the work. Because yes, it can feel like life is tilted, like some people get the nod without trying. A tiny note won't fix every imbalance, but it puts a quiet thumb on the scale, the kind that lasts, the kind you earn, invisible credit, banked. The fastest way to rewrite a relationship isn't a speech, it's a single syllable. Your name is a flag you plant in the world. A nickname, that's someone moving the flag closer to them, or lower on the pole. That's the hack. It's subtle, it's fast, and it works. Here's the sweet version. When someone shortens your name with care, Jules for Julia, Kev for Kevin, it signals we're in the same boat. It's a tiny bridge laid plank by plank in a breath. In a tense room, that little bridge can carry trust. You feel seen, not managed. You feel closer. And here's the twist. The same move can cut the other way. Buddy, chief, kiddo, champ. Those aren't always friendly. Used wrong, they press you down an inch. They shrink. They say, I'm up here, you're down there. It's a rank badge disguised as a smile. Ever notice how your shoulders react when someone tags you with a name you didn't choose? That flinch is data. Your body clock's power plays before your brain finishes the sentence. If you want to build closeness, ask permission in spirit, if not literally. Try a gentle test. Use the softer version once, then watch. Do their eyes warm up? Do they mirror it back? If yes, you've earned a little shorthand. If not, step back to their full name. Respect is the key that keeps connection from sounding creepy. If you're on the receiving end of the shrinking kind, you've got options. You can correct quickly and cleanly. I go by Samantha. Say it calm. No apology. Then use their full name on the next beat to reset the ground. Samantha. Thank you. That 1-2 move straightens the frame without a fight. You can also deflect with a smile that sets a boundary. Only my grandma calls me that. It lands as light, but it closes the door. Or flip the script by leveling up their title. They drop a champ, you give them professor or full name. Formality is a ladder. Stepping up puts you eye to eye. Want a quiet advantage in new rooms? Brand yourself first. Offer the version you want to live in. Call me D. Or, in the right context, I'm coach today. Labels are lenses. People will look at you through the one you hand them. Just keep it honest. Don't pretend status. Anchor it in how you actually serve. When should you use this hack? When stakes are human, not just tactical. During conflict. During a high-pressure pitch. During a first meeting that could become a partnership. Use it to build a bridge, not to throw a rope around someone's neck. Listen for the echo. If the nickname makes them bigger, keep it. If it makes them smaller, drop it. You're always training people how to treat you. Names are levers. Pull gently. Hold your own flag high. And when someone tries to lower it, lift it back to full height with your true name. Then watch the room quietly rebalance. Watch how one pair of knees can control a room. You stand up, your chair scrapes, your hands meet, and suddenly 100 people decide they agree with you, even if they don't. Here's the move. It's the standing ovation hack. Stand first, clap like you mean it, and hold the moment long enough for others to feel the weight of silence on their shoulders. That silence is pressure. The clap is a signal. And the body, it just follows. Picture a school auditorium. The final note hangs in the air. There's that tiny pause, the room taking a breath. One person springs up, clapping big, chin lifted, eyes forward. Another person glances around, then pops up too. A couple of seats over, someone mutters, "I guess we're standing." And they rise because the people next to them did. In 10 heartbeats, the entire place is vertical. The performance didn't change. The signal did. Why does this work? Because people read crowds like weather. We're scanning for safety, status, and what's normal here. When someone confidently declares normal with their body, many of us obey the weather report. Psychologically, that first mover creates social proof. Approval feels safer when it looks shared. If you're the one starting it, timing is everything. Wait for the beat right after a high note, a punchline, or a curtain call. Stand cleanly, no half lift, no timid shrug. Clap from the chest, not the fingertips. Keep your eyes forward so you're not asking permission. You're declaring a standard. Hold for about 8 seconds. That's long enough for hesitation to turn into imitation. Add a small nudge, an elbow, a grin, to a neighbor, and watch the ripple move. And here's the twist. It doesn't just work in theaters. Team meeting raps. You stand, applaud the speaker, and the room follows. Charity event. You rise during the thank you moment, and donors mirror it. We think we make independent choices. Often, we make fast ones that keep us inside the tribe. Is that manipulative? It can be. Anything that leverages belonging can tilt toward control if the intent is off. The ethical line is simple. Elevate what truly deserves it. Don't dress up what doesn't. Use it to spotlight effort, courage, or a real win, not to fake consensus or drown out doubt. Still, the lesson is bigger than applause. Little signals set big norms. One person speaking up can make honesty feel normal. One person sitting back can make silence feel required. If you understand that, you stop waiting for permission to set the tone, and you stop letting the loudest signal run the room. Ground your cues in a clear idea, a quick example, a simple why, then end with a human reminder. People feel before they think. That sequence sticks. So next time you feel that pause and your instincts whisper, stand now, know what you're actually doing. You're not just clapping, you're declaring what counts. And people, even the unsure ones, will rise. The most dangerous button in your inbox isn't delete, it's forward. Sounds harmless, right? One click, a little FYI, and you move on. But here's the quiet truth. Forwarding an email at the right moment can shift blame or steal credit. It's not about the message, it's about the moment and the audience. Picture this. A project slips, tensions rise, and suddenly everyone's asking, who dropped the ball? You don't argue, you don't write a paragraph. You find that old email where you flag the risk, then forward it to the exact people now looking for answers, with a calm line like, looping back to what I warned about last week. That's it. In a breath, you're the person who saw it coming. Someone else becomes the person who ignored it. The forward is your time-stamped shield, quiet, clean, and loaded with context. Flip the coin. The team pulls off a win. You were one of many, sure, but you want to be seen. You comb the thread, snag the moment you pitch the key idea, then forward a tight recap to the decision maker. Quick summary of what worked and why. Now your name sits right on the highlight reel. You didn't claim, I did everything. You just placed your earlier words where the spotlight is. It feels like transparency. It functions like credit. Is that fair? Here's the uncomfortable part. Organizations run on narrative, not just work. People remember what they saw, not necessarily what happened. A forward moves your version into their line of sight at the exact second their brain is writing a story. That's why the timing matters more than the content. Send it too early, it's noise. Send it in the heat of the question, it's proof. Not truth, proof. So how do you protect yourself from the darker side of this? Build receipts before you need them. Send clear summaries after calls. Put decisions in writing. When you agree to a change, confirm it in an email with the action and the owner. You're not being petty. You're future-proofing your reputation. Then, if someone forwards a narrative that tilts the table, you've got a clean counter-move, a thread that shows you raised the issue, did the work, or carried the handoff. And if you use the hack, use it with a conscience. Forward to clarify, not to weaponize. Loop people in so the right eyes see the right evidence, but don't twist it. You'll still win the moment and you won't lose yourself, because the forward button isn't really a button, it's a lever. Pull it at the wrong time and you look petty. Pull it at the right time and you look prepared. The difference is one word: timing. Ask yourself, before you click, am I protecting the truth or just trying to look good? That pause is the real power. You know that tiny smile someone gives. Then they tilt their head and say, "Sorry, remind me. What was your name again?" It looks harmless. It's not. It's a silent shove down the ladder. Here's the move. Pretending to forget your name isn't about memory, it's about rank. Your name is a little flag that says, "I belong here." When they forget, they tug that flag down. You feel smaller, they feel taller. One sentence, instant reshuffle. Why does it work? Because a name is recognition, and recognition equals status. Being named says, "I see you." Being forgotten suggests you weren't worth saving. That stings. And when people feel that sting, they rush to fix it. They lean in, smile extra, over-explain, reintroduce themselves. They do the labor. The other person, calm and collected, just scored free power. No, not everyone who forgets is running a game. Real forgetting happens, but the hack has tells. There's the deliberate delay, the performative squint, the exaggerated "oh" like a stage whisper. There's the repeat offender who forgets only downward. Never the boss, never the star, always the intern, the newcomer, the quiet one. And here's the twist. Some use a cousin of the trick, the mispronounce and shrug. It's lazy disrespect dressed as clumsy charm. So what do? First, hold the frame. Say your name calmly, first and last, with steady eye contact, then hand the ball back. "I'm Maya Rahman, and you are?" That second question flips the script. Now they're the one catching up. If it happens again, tag the pattern without heat. "We've met twice, Maya." It helps when people get it right. Gentle voice, grounded posture. You're not scolding, you're setting terms. When they mispronounce, correct once with warmth, twice with weight. It's Rahman, like Ra, not Ram. Thanks. The thanks is the lid on the jar, firm, closed. If it's strategic and persistent, elevate your title to put steel in the ground. Dr. Singh, Officer Reyes, Professor Chen. You're reminding them, and the room, that your role carries its own capital. And if you want to play offense, there's a clean move that isn't petty. Use names early and often. Anchor others by name in the conversation. As Jordan said, "I agree with Priya." It's the opposite hack. Raising people signals abundance, not scarcity. and it quietly lifts you too. Here's the bigger truth. These small social games run on our craving to be seen. That's why they work. But you don't have to hand over your sense of worth just because someone pretends you're forgettable. Keep your center. Say your name like it matters, because it does. And when someone tries to push you down a rung with a smile, smile back, hold your ground, and let your presence do the rest. Respect isn't granted, it's enforced, with calm, with clarity, with your own voice. Want to make a room erupt without touching a single button? Try doing nothing. There's a tiny moment that flips crowds. It's the breath right after your final line, when every eye is on you, waiting. If you fill that space with a quick thank you, the claps are polite. If you hold it, just a beat, those same hands slam together like thunder. That's the applause pause. It sounds like a trick because it is. Rooms are more rigged by rhythm than reason. Why does it work? Silence creates tension. People feel it in their chest and want relief. They scan for a cue, any cue, and you become the cue. That's the conductor's baton raised in midair. Everyone's waiting for the downbeat. When you finally give it, they pounce. In plain terms, your stillness says, this is the moment. Here's how to pull it off. Build to a clean final sentence. Make it crisp, like it could live on a poster. Deliver it, then stop. Eyes up, shoulders loose, hands open at your sides or lightly on the lectern. Take one slow breath in and out. Let the silence hang for 2 heartbeats. If you hear the first clap, give a tiny nod, permission granted, and open your posture a touch. Watch the wave swell. And here's the twist. If the room is cold and nobody jumps first, don't panic. Break the silence with a warm, grounded, thank you, voice slightly down at the end, not up like a question. That falling tone signals closure, which often triggers the late clap anyway. If it still doesn't land, roll straight into questions or a story tag. You didn't fail. You kept control. Common mistakes? Don't grin like you're begging. Don't glance at your notes. Don't stretch the pause forever. If you hold it past 1.5 breaths, it flips from power to awkward. The goal is charged stillness, not a stare down. Is this manipulative? Only if you use it to sell what you don't believe. Silence is a tool, like a spotlight. It can flatter fluff, sure, but it can also honor a hard-earned truth. If your message has weight, the pause lets it sink in. If it doesn't, the pause exposes that too. Here's the part most people miss. Crowds crave sync. We copy the first brave hand, the first bold breath, the first confident nod. Your pause gives them something to copy. That's not magic. That's how humans herd. So, try it at your next toast, meeting, or stage moment. Land your last line. Hold the silence. Let them build the noise. Because sometimes the loudest applause starts with you saying nothing and owning everything.